How are you? How are you? I was thinking of not thinking. I was about to actually message you and say, "How are you, Rachel?" And then your post came up, and you said the context. Ah, well, I'll ask you over here. So very good, very good. How are you, Rachel? How are you? How are you? I enjoyed our interaction, our chat. That's very cool. I enjoyed it a lot. And Beena and Donna did also a little bit. They were on. Beena enjoyed chatting to you about the Islam thing. The question was powerful. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I
How are you?
didn't want to ask her anyway. I've spoken to many people who have been from like the Middle East and other like other Muslims,
Yeah.
which is when I became aware that a Muslim is a religion and it's not a race of people, because I thought that everybody who lived in the Middle East was a Muslim by race. But
Ah, right, right.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
they taught me the difference between Arabic. Arabic's the race, Muslim is just a religion.
Right,
And
right.
I started trying. I had one friend who was like a practicing Muslim, and me and him had loads of like conversations on like religion and stuff.
Right,
He talked a little bit about Islam and what it
right.
means to be a Muslim, and I talked to him about paganism, and he was very understanding and nice about it. But then he said that he actually killed somebody. He's actually murdered someone, doing that freedom fighting thing, and
Uh-huh.
I basically killed him. But I did miss the
Wow,
conversations.
interesting, interesting, interesting. Yeah, actually, the country with the most Muslims in the world is not in the Middle East.
Mm.
Yeah, it's actually Malaysia, I think it is, or the Philippines. I think even both of them may have, like be one and two, and then like Russia and China have huge Muslim populations as well. So yeah, and then plenty countries in Africa. So
Oh,
um,
speaking of which, sorry,
no problem. That's all I was gonna say.
my mind just is flicking about a lot because we've had a few riots now.
Wow, wow, they're writing against Boris.
Yeah, against Boris Johnson and his government.
Yeah, there just seems to me some bullshit involved in the elections. In terms of manipulation. It's like when Putin wins an election and all of a sudden he gets 95% of the vote. If you're gonna bloody well rig the elections, make it realistic for Christ's sakes, not 95%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's
So
stupid
I
and
don't know.
ridiculous.
There seems some skullduggery and chicanery involved here. It doesn't make any sense. So
Well, I've been working on Beena's picture.
you've been working on what?
Beena's picture.
Oh, on the picture. I just read your post on that story. You're continuing with your story as well. Is that part of the same story that you were telling me the other day? The post you
Um,
made,
when was
the post you made today
sorry?
in the group, the one
Oh,
about where you end with saying May Freya and May Odin and May Thor and May the other one. Uh,
oh
guide.
no, that's just putting. No. That's me putting something out into the universe.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's so powerful. That's so powerful.
Basically,
It's so powerful.
basically what that was is that's me gearing myself up to cursing the government.
Interesting. It's a powerful way of doing it. That's really interesting. I like that
I
abstract connectivity.
I've not actually done it yet, but that's me telling the universe basically, either you sort it out, or otherwise I'm going to take matters into my own hand.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant.
Basically,
Yeah, matters are in your hand, right?
and that's the whole point of cursing. Cursing is supposed to only be done by the practitioner in extreme circumstances. And the death toll since the Tories have been in power has been ridiculous. It's been an all-time high: homelessness, child poverty, a
Wow.
lot. So basically, that's why it says for the good of all, because it's basically not because I don't want the government to be in power, so I'm going to curse them.
Eh?
It's more along the lines of I can see a lot of people about to lose their lives. So it's an honourable act for me.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I just think that there's too much manipulation involved. On the other hand, also it fascinates me that you would think that a good cause, would be able to find leadership that has some sensibility, and that can at least project. You don't have to be the be all and end all of anything, but don't be crap. I mean, don't have obvious flaws that's going to get you, like the old Corbyn anti-Semitic thing. Don't have obvious flaws, for heaven's sake, that's going to get you kicked out of the thing. It's like McDonald's. Their success lies not in making fantastic food, but it lies in never making bad food.
That's the thing.
That's corporate policy, by the way. That's what they founded on. They say, we're not looking to make gourmet food, but we know that when you come to McDonald's, you know what you're getting, and it's never bad. It's always consistent. So it's without flaw. So so you think
That's
they
the
would
thing.
find any leader, just somebody who can speak and say the stuff, but that doesn't have obvious flaws like that they can pick apart and pull down. It seems very obvious.
Corbyn's never been proven to be anti-Semitic.
Right, but I mean, it's still
Do you remember the Irish? Do you remember when the Irish were bombing England?
uh-huh.
It's Jeremy Corbyn who got a ceasefire. He's the one that actually went to the Irish and got them to stop doing that.
Right. Right.
He's a pacifist, and
It's not. I'm not saying he's not qualified. He's not a good guy. I'm saying he's vulnerable in terms of a propaganda perspective. Yeah, you see what I mean?
He needed to, because he's a pacifist. He doesn't like arguing, and he tries to avoid it where he can.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
he's a politician. He needs.
Exactly.
Like I was saying to my mom, he should have fought it.
Exactly.
The lies about him, he should have fought it more.
Exactly.
He just let do what they wanted.
Exactly.
And my mum was like,
exactly.
well, actually, what he actually needed was somebody to fight his corner for him, which he got, but it came too late.
Right.
The damage was already done.
Right. The lack of strategy is what cost him, in other words. That's the thing. If you're from a spirit warrior point of view, you fight when you need to. You don't have to use violence. You use other means. But yeah, you got to be strategic. Above all, you've got to be strategic. Without strategy, you're just screwed. And especially when you are fighting people that are unscrupulous, which you are here. The Russians are helping Boris. There's no doubt about it. And of course they want Brexit because they want to collapse Europe. So that's been their agenda for all time, and to collapse NATO, because then all the stuff that is essentially anti-Russian expansionism and all of their crap goes away. And so there's a bigger agenda going on, but it's like, come on.
It's going to end in war.
Yeah, when you're fighting people who fight dirty, then all bets are off the table. I'm sorry, if you want to do that shit, no. You remove ethics and sensibility and niceness from the equation. That's it. So it's a pity. It's a pity. It's a pity. But again, like I was saying the other day, excess leads to excess. So I think this is a good thing, because now look at what the real stuff is coming out, and the people who didn't act, and those, the biggest, like in America, the biggest block of voters are those that don't vote. So it really needs to get those earnest good people that things will work out. Yes, you got good bad governments, you got bad governments, but in the end it all works out. Get those people really motivated to say, hey, no, this time it's different. It's not about changing the government, it's about changing the underlying system. So it's getting people off their asses, so it's a good thing. Yeah
It is. It's getting people off their asses. I posted a protest that's happening not far away from my home.
Cool.
But my mum doesn't like us joining protests because of being arrested. Because in England, if you protest, you're branded as a terrorist and you're threatened with jail.
Yeah. You got to be careful of that. That's amazing. You don't want to get that terrorist label, because that basically enables them to do whatever the hell they like, and it's again
but
distortion of things. Yeah.
You know me and my lack of fear.
Exactly, exactly. No, I would agree. Just to be strategic. There are other ways to protest, and there are other ways to be strategic. So, and there are other ways to put things
That's
out
what
there.
I've done.
Yeah, yeah.
I've taken the protest where it is, where it's at, and I've posted it in several Facebook groups,
Right.
English orientated. So now I've done my part. I've spread awareness about the protest.
Perfect.
I support the protest. So because I can't physically be there, I've done all I can now.
Good. Good. There you go. There you go. Everybody has. If everybody does just a little, it becomes a lot. Right. People
I'm
forget
just
that.
I'm just spreading the awareness of it
Right. That's what I'm
because
saying.
that's
If everybody does just a
yeah.
little, it becomes a huge amount. That's all we got to do. Is just a little. And just all of us need to do that little, and all of a sudden it takes over. When things go viral, everybody's just doing a very little. They're just thinking like they're doing the minimum that you could possibly do, but yet it makes a very consequential difference, right? Isn't that exciting?
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
about you? What about you personally? Where you at personally, Rachel? I was really, I always think about conversations. It's my daily habit.
yeah.
I review every day. Before I go sleep, I review everything. I go over everything. I like to think things through, especially to the end. Very important. And our whole interaction, the whole day was so magical to me. It was so huge, and what stays with me, and is the application part. And you applying daily in a huge, massive way. This is something very special, Rachel. It really, really is just hugely special. This is a very big deal. Also, change. Whatever we are is it's a huge big deal to make sure that how we conceive of ourselves, what we are, what we are changing into, is open ended. This is very important because when we get into the profoundness of truly learning and growing, that what we think we know always keeps expanding and growing. So if we lock ourselves into anything, we end up in a bottleneck, in a jam, we end up in a conundrum because now we've basically painted ourselves in a corner. So to leave our growing and our learning and our changing open ended, this is huge. This enables us to say, shit, you know what? Where I was at, I only kind of knew of this stuff. But now suddenly I see more, and it's a paradigm shift. And I can completely change because I've set my system to be open and to be open to change to anything and to be able to let go of whatever it is I've used as the appropriateness for the time. So as a warrior, for instance, you go into battle and you fighting berserkers, you become a berserker. You fight spies and you become a spy. You know what I mean? You learn as appropriate to do what is
Um,
necessary depending on the circumstances, depending on attunement, in other words.
I'm gonna have to stop you there because I've just dipped out, like literally, like lost and rejoined.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, no
Trying to.
problem. I heard you come back. I didn't
I
hear.
missed what you
Yeah. No worries. I didn't hear you drop out, so it's okay. I can repeat it all.
said.
Where
Okay.
was where was I lost? Where did you hear the last thing I said?
Application because after that you started breaking up a lot.
Wow, okay. I was just saying, I was just listening, and thinking over our whole magical day, and the thing that stayed with me was application. Your application specifically, how you apply, how much you apply, how much effort you make to apply. And this is really really magical and powerful, and it's a huge deal. It's so massive. It's I don't know how much to say it's massive because without application it's all meaningless. So that application, though, what I was thinking, it's so important and so critical and so useful to be aware that as we go along, to maintain an openness to change, and also an openness to our personal conceptions and self definitions. In other words, not to paint ourselves into a corner, not to define ourselves or lock ourselves into what we've changed to or what we are changing into, so that we're always open to change into anything, so that we can, if required, drop whatever it is that we have changed into. In other words, what I am now, no matter how much I've changed into it, and I say, wow, this is good, this is cool, that I can drop it and move on to something else. Because, like a warrior going into battle, if I'm fighting berserkers, I become a berserker because that's what's appropriate, that's what's needed. If I'm fighting spies, I become a spy, and so on. In other words, to be able to have that ability to be appropriate as required in any circumstance, and to build that into our change, because otherwise we can basically get to something that works, and it can become a limitation because we're not open to further change, because there's always more. And as we grow, as we learn, it gets more and more and more. Eventually we get to that point where we are what we are, depending on the attunement of the circumstances. So the perfect warrior is always fighting in the style that's required for the circumstance, or the counter style. You know what I mean? They're always appropriate. In other words, they don't cling to just one style. They can fight any style. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
And
that's what I'm saying with the application and the change.
hmm.
To develop that, the style of no style, the style of all styles, the style of appropriateness, in other words. Yeah?
That's something that I don't know. Since I've started doing this, people have around me have noticed that I've started to pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
No.
Right. And that's the other reason for having this openness to change. It is the ability to be different, because I see this all too often. People get into change, and they undergo profound change, and then their friends will say to them like, hey, what's up with you? And they kind of resist that change in their friends. Like, what the hell, people? I'm changing, I'm learning, I'm growing. But there's a reason why your friends resist change in you. There's a very profound reason for it.
Well, no,
Because,
they're not resisting it.
well, so, not yours necessarily, but some people will.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
they'll push back against it. Or they'll kind of like, what's up with you? Like, what's going on? They just have a resist. And there's a very profound reason. Because they don't want to feel left behind. Because people have comparative mindsets and hierarchy. If you change and your change is to something better, and they haven't changed, well, now suddenly you above them and better than them, and they want to pull you down. Shit like this. I'm just saying, in the hierarchical world, people do stupid things, and they will inhibit the growth of others because it shows them up. So they don't care for other people to get better and improve and all this, right? I'm just saying, it's something to be aware of. Not all people are like that, but some. So when we can change, and I don't care if you don't like that I've changed. Well, that's your problem. It's too bad. You're not even thinking of it. It's not even that you're thinking too bad. I don't care. It's just that you are free to change, and you change. And people say, whatever. If they maybe even say, well, it doesn't matter, because you're cueing it, you're pushing it out. Hey, I'm changing. I'm a person who changes. I'm a person who learns and grows. This is my thing now. Yesterday, my thing was this. Today, this is my thing. That's it. And you have no problems with it, no qualms doing it. And that's an incredible, incredible, incredible freedom. Very, very, very few people actually get to touch that freedom. Very few.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, very few, because people get locked into ways of being, and habit takes over, and just conventionality and momentum and continuity, and they never get to experience truly being different, and it's a great loss. Amazing thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just commenting on it because you do undergo and partake in profound change, and this is something really magical, Rachel. It's really something special. That ability to completely shift and be something new and different. You know, like when you shifted from wearing boys' clothes to girls' clothes. You know, but that can be psychologically as well.
I actually quite like what Beena said about how comfortable I've made her with it.
Say again what Beena said about what?
How comfortable she is around me talking about like trans stuff, because
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, and I'm just like,
Right.
Yay! That's made
Right,
me feel really
right,
good.
right. And that's why I mentioned at the time, I said, Rachel, this is a huge, huge deal. It's a big, big deal. Not just as a compliment, but just as a big deal. Because exactly that. It's not just that you're making her feel comfortable. The reason is why that you are comfortable. Beena articulated the why, and this was quite significant. This was a big deal that she could say. Oh, she didn't just say, "Oh, thank you, Rachel, for making me feel comfortable." She said, "Why?" She said, "Because you are comfortable with it, and that's a big deal." So when you look at the stuff that you get into difficulty with, stuff that makes you emotional, stuff that causes stress, it's because at some level you aren't at peace with something. And then when we realize this, the stuff that upsets us, it's things that we haven't made peace with yet. So for me, like I get stressed with irrationality. I struggle to make peace with irrationality. I have a difficulty with that. I need to learn to do that, to say, well, you know what? Some people just are irrational, or sometimes I'm just irrational. Either way, I'm very powerful. They're very important. So it's the same logic. We have to make peace with the stuff. It's very important. Very important. And that's the key, though, because in terms of dealing with anger, anger's not an anger issue. It is a not being at peace with some stuff, with ourselves issue. It's got nothing to do with anger, really. Anger is just a reaction to our lack of peace with something, our unresolvedness. It is a mechanism of bringing us attention to what it is precisely that we need to deal with. It's very interesting if we don't look at anger in itself as the issue, but look at really the bottom deal. Because look, like you don't have anger about the transgender stuff in the same way. There's not you're at peace with it, and so it's not a problem. Yeah, you may have a problem with somebody giving you shit about it because they're being a dickhead, because you have a problem with dickheads. Okay, different problem. It's not a transgender issue then. It's just them being a dickhead. That's the problem. Different issue. You see my point?
Not even them.
Right, I'm just saying, just for argument's sake, I just wanted to make the point about, to not assume that when we get angry about stuff that it's the thing itself. It's usually something else. Anger is a mechanism. It's like to draw our attention, to say, hey, yeah, you need to pay attention because it's something else. It's almost never the thing that we think it is. It's just amazing. It's quite powerful. Quite powerful. Very magical, Rachel. But I just wanted to comment on that the effort to actually change, the effort to actually apply. This is a sacred, profound, most magical, and incredible, just wonderfulness. And it's rare too. Like I was saying the other day, many are invited, few show up. That's the universe says the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Many people have invitations, but very few show up. And then even less actually take what is come their way and apply it and use it and put it into action. That's why, in the way of impeccability, that without application, it's all meaningless. It's like the tagline in a way. It's a constant mantra and a refrain, because it doesn't matter how much wisdom we connect to. If we don't apply it, we don't use it, it's all meaningless. It's all just bullshit. Yeah,
yeah,
very powerful, very powerful. So the effort to apply, this is where everything is at. Absolutely everything is at. Very important. And there's more to it too, because there's a whole session about this in the way of impeccability. It's about self-proof. We can change and get into change and apply change, but if we only do it internally, it's problematic to a large degree. Because for one thing, our what goes on inside our head, it's kind of a fuzzy stuff. There's a lot of shadow thoughts. We can easily believe we've changed and think we've changed and think we know something, but we don't really. We just kind of believe it because it's inside the shadow world of our internal self, right? And we can easily kind of fool ourselves in there, because how often isn't it that that you've had some idea in your head and it sounded wonderful, and then you express it to somebody, and the moment you start talking about it, you like realize, oh my God, this is absolute bullshit. This is a load of bollocks right here, right? And it's like, what the fuck was I thinking, right? And then you say, oh, never mind, right? Has that ever happened to you?
A lot of times.
Exactly. So the act of expressing ourselves, in other words, to really actually test our learning and growth, to put it out there, this is powerful. So that post of yours, in posting it to the universe, putting it on the wind, this is really powerful, because that's the act of now you putting it out. And when you put it out, you get, not only do you get the benefits of perspective on yourself, but you get to see, a actually for real, what is going on here. And it is a mechanism where you can self-prove to yourself. Now, let's just take, for instance, you've acquired some new skill or ability. Let's just say power pause, right? You might believe you have the power pause, but until you actually prove to yourself that you have it, you don't really own it, and it's not real. And there's not, our inner bureaucrats are going to say, yeah, but we need to be sure. We need to have this tested in actual battle, in real battle. It's like being the like in that Impeccable Warrior story. Remember when he was pretending to be the the the, the testing, what did I call it, uh, 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 to be a warrior who's only ever fought in test battles, and they're usually flawed on the battlefield because they don't have real battle experience, so they tend to withhold the killing blow and stuff like that, and because they haven't really experienced the true warrior, battle. So we want to be the same thing. We want to prove to ourselves that we can actually do it for real, in real battle. So this is very important, because when we do make that effort to actually apply in real world situations, for real, put it out there, not just believe we've changed, but test our changes, then we get that confidence of a true warrior to say, no, this is for real. I really can do this. It's not just an idea, it's not just a belief, it's for real. And that is massively transformative, because you do that a bunch of times. After a while, you can say, you know what? And now I have a series of things which I've applied and tested. I can feel confident that I have the ability to change for real. That moment when we have enough, we have a pattern that says, hey, I have the ability to, now it changes, and now we can really shift to a new paradigm, a new level. And it's massively, massively huge in that confidence of self to say, I am a creature who can change, who does change. Very big deal. Very big deal. So, I'm really just articulating what you are doing, Rachel, just to put perspective on it, and just appreciation also. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I don't really see the point of being in a Facebook group like this if you're not going to actually practice it.
Oh, exactly. That's the whole. Exactly. That's the point of the. That's the point of it. A lot of people don't understand that it's not about getting likes or getting interaction. It doesn't make any bloody difference if no one reads that post. It is for you. It is a vehicle for you to put it out there, like you said, to put it to the universe. It's a post to the universe. Is that you coming
Yeah, I
back?
mean,
Oh, hey, Donna. Hello, Donna. Hello, 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 hello. We are talking about application, Donna, and we are talking about the profoundness of application, and we are talking about just the magic and the awesomeness and the necessity of actual application, of actually doing stuff, of actually taking what we are learning and putting it into application, right? Because if we don't have that, of course, without application it's all meaningless. But to really appreciate the necessity for actually proving to ourselves that we have acquired a new way of being, that we have acquired new abilities. And also, it's very profound when it comes to shifting our perspective of self, especially since we are connecting in very profound ways to new ways of being on a continual basis. It's really critical to build into our self conception the idea, the understanding, the knowing that, hey, part of my self-conception is that I am a creature of change. I have the ability to change. I'm not locked into any self-conception. I'm not locked into any style, any way of being. What I am now, as good as it is now, as much as I'm enjoying it now, as totally committed to it as I am now, it is subject to change. Any moment, if I need to change profoundly, that's it. I can change profoundly. And this is a very, very big deal because otherwise, we can just change into something new and powerful and profound, and it's a totally new paradigm, and it's like wow, wow, wow. But we can lock it in, and then at some point it becomes a limitation because, of course, there's always more. So we are looking for a self-conception of openness and to know that we are able to change at any point in being. And whatever way of being that we adopt, it's temporary. Because our ultimate way of being is a way of being of appropriateness, that we can be whatever, whenever, as appropriate, as required. And that's the key. Then we can truly start to live in attunement with everything. And that's the magic, right? The ability to totally be 100% in attunement is utterly dependent on our ability to change and be fluid and be flexible and be adaptable. In other words, to be appropriate as required, right? That makes sense, Donna?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, yeah. So how about you and application? How have you been applying? I know you do as well. I was just commenting on, in terms of our interaction the other day with Rachel. We had such a magical day. It was so huge. It was so awesome. And, just my takeaway on that day, what stayed with me was how much effort Rachel makes to actually apply and change and do and persist in that, because some of the things that you are looking to change and apply, they take some persistence and they take some determination, because they deep habits that are looking to be changed. It's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. Yeah. I'm curious your like inside, like your thoughts, your processes of change, Donna.
Just taking different situations and being aware and then applying as it feels appropriate. It just seems to flow a little easier. I don't have to have a great deal of quote unquote thought involved, which is different in itself.
Yeah, in other words, you've gotten into a space of just doing. Yeah.
Right.
Wow,
Just
that's very exciting.
doing.
That's very
Most of the time, if I stay in awareness and don't get sucked into silliness.
right. That to me, that's a profound skill. That's a very big point. That's a huge point. A key point, a very key, absolute crux point, is the ability to maintain our overview perspective, to not get sucked into bubbles of emotion. This habit of all habits, I feel, is one of the most profound habits that we can cultivate. The habit of maintaining our awareness. Anytime we lose that and we get sucked into an emotion bubble, that's when the shit happens. That's when we get into trouble. That's when stuff goes out of the door. And when we look back at times when we were being stupid, when we were being inappropriate, when we were being cockeyed, inevitably every single time we were inside an emotion bubble. We'd lost our awareness. We'd lost that overview perspective. We'd lost the connection with our larger self. Yeah?
Right. One of the things I've been trying out, it may sound a little silly, but works for me anyway so far, is when you can kind of feel when you're being sucked in a little bit to something, and
Yeah.
I'm using my new yoga
Ah,
actually,
brilliant. That is what yoga
and
is. Yeah.
and when I need to step back and look at the bigger perspective and pull back from things, I create an image in my mind of doing a certain pose, a warrior pose, and then just the word power. And for me, for whatever reason, that helps me to then shift a little bit.
Wow.
So I don't know,
Wow. Can you demonstrate
kind of
for us,
fun.
Nana?
I'm driving.
Oh, I guess not then.
Probably not.
uh, I'd love to see that demonstrated at some point, Donna. Truly, I
The
really.
warrior pose.
Yes. No,
It's a very powerful pose for me.
your warrior pose, not the warrior pose. Your
Yeah,
Donna's warrior pose.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. The way with that intent and with that personalized application, it's something else. Otherwise it's just a physical stance. Anybody can copy the physical stance without the underlying intent. It's really meaningless. Yeah, it's just a
Right.
physical exercise. I mean, yeah, it has value, but not nearly the same. Not nearly the same.
As most things,
Yeah, yeah. Rachel?
the value comes when you apply the intent.
Exactly. Exactly. The value comes from application. Exactly. Exactly. Rachel?
Hmm?
I just want to hear where you at. What do you think?
Um, there's a meditation pose that I use called the warrior pose. Not the warrior pose, just a warrior pose.
Wow.
And that is basically when you put your left hand over your heart. No, your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your stomach.
Your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your stomach.
Yep.
It grounds you.
Wow. And
And
you
you
make you
stand up.
meditate in that position?
And you stand up. So
Oh,
you don't sit down.
when you stand up.
You
Wow.
have to stand up. And I did that once, and I was like, it's only been 5 minutes. Walked away, looked at my phone, and realised I was doing it for 5 hours.
Wow. Wow. It's like the sadhus. I was talking to
Yeah,
Beena about sadhus yesterday.
it was like my feet were glued to the spot. I couldn't.
Wow. Wow. It's a cool Yul Brynner movie called The Ultimate Warrior, where it starts with him just standing like for days on end. Just standing there waiting. Yeah. Very, very cool movie. Very old movie, but still a cool movie.
Aches as well.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. You remember Yul Brynner, I would imagine, Donna?
I do.
Yeah.
What was his famous King of Kings or that
The,
movie?
the,
He
the, the
was
king, the King and I.
The King and I. That's
The King
it.
and I. Yeah, they
When you
remade that
said his
movie a
name,
couple of
that
times.
popped into my head.
Yeah, yeah. This was a science fiction, a post-apocalyptic movie, and these people are stuck in this bubble, and they got to get to the like the promised land, the part that survived the apocalypse, and he travels with them across. But yeah, it just his representation of this warrior that was really well done, So it was kind of just in terms
You've
of
seen
having
that?
integrity and impeccability and this. So it's not about the warrior part in a physical sense. The spirit warrior part. This was powerful. This was kind of
I
cool.
think I've seen that movie.
Say that again.
I think I've seen The Ultimate Warrior.
Ah, cool. It's a very old movie, and like I say, it's a dystopian, and it starts where they like this little group, and they're in the city, and they kind of they are growing tomatoes on top of the high rise, on the ceiling and stuff like that, and then they need to get out because they know, the wild people are encroaching on them, and so they recruit him, they hire him as a mercenary, as it were, to kind of get them out and lead them across, and then it's the whole story. So yeah, it's very cool. But the first initial scenes, and his embodiment of impeccability is very powerful. And I think they have positive ruthlessness in there. Like I think that one of the people in the community, they steal the tomatoes before the tomatoes are fully ripened, because they just like they're basically screwing up the whole system. And the leader is like too compassionate and too nice to like do anything about it. And I think the ultimate warrior says no, he's got to go, and it tosses him over the edge, something like that. I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly, but anyway, in my mind, there's some connectivity to him being positively necessary ruthless. You say we don't have time for this. You can't threaten your whole community because you're just being compassionate with this one. You've got to think in the bigger picture. I'm paraphrasing now. I don't think he said it that way, but anyway, stuff like that. So it just was powerful. But then again, what I remember and the way I watch movies is not necessarily what they mean. I pull stuff that they don't intend sometimes, I believe. So Who knows if they meant it or not? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I get value, so it's all good.
I
But
am doing music.
yeah. Yeah, I actually was watching a movie last night with Donna. It's kind of fun with Beena. I mean, I might even do that now with Beena if you want to. We can watch the movie Hair, Rachel. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I'm not. No, I haven't seen that one. I'm not really big into movies because I'm
Ah,
currently
right.
drawing again.
Right. Well, the thing is, the reason for watching them is we're watching them as a discussion. It's like a watch party. So it's the commentary and giving perspective on it and showing different things. It's not to watch the movie for itself necessarily. So it's about perspective and discernment, looking at implications and all stuff. So anyway, you Bina, hello Bina. You tell Rachel about watching the movie. What was the experience of watching the movie together? What was that like for you, Bina? You there, Bina? Oh, all right. Hold on 1 second here.
Might be a bit busy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to close some stuff, minimize. Maybe there's too much going on. And you there, Bina? Bina had trouble last night with the connection. Like she was hearing me, but we couldn't hear her. So maybe your the headset or non-headset. Maybe there's the problem. Maybe the connectivity on the headset is loose, Bina. We wait. Anyway, Rachel, uh, Bina. Oh, I was gonna, I was gonna say, what's going on inside you beside the elections thing? I,
Um,
oh, before you say that, let me just say something else that came up in our conversation with Bina as well. At some point in the life of a spirit warrior, we get to realize that the path that we on is a singular path. It is a path, in other words, which has taken us to some extent beyond the doings of just the doings of man, as it were, the doings of mankind, their ordinary, regular
Hello.
doings. Hello, Bina.
Oh,
Right.
my earphones are just
Yeah,
dead. So
yeah,
that's
that's
why,
yeah.
and I was listening to you guys, and I was talking, and I said, "Come on."
Yeah. But your earphones is also the mic is corrupted. So I was just saying
Yes.
this. What we were talking about, Bina. At some point in the
Yeah.
life of a spirit warrior, we realize that the doings of mankind, the doings of humanity, are no longer our doings. In other words, we are shifting into a paradigm of being, a way of being, where we have to say, "Hey, our things, our spirituality, our growth, our learning." This is where it's at. We are no longer really connected to the ordinary doings and goings on of mankind. In other words, the usual stuff of work and family and children and politics and all of the and religion and all of that stuff. Yes, we can touch on it and we connect to it. We know what it is because it's part of our impeccability to be understand all of this from an attunement point of view. But they aren't specifically our concern in the same way as they are the concern for those that are still in that particular path. Our path takes us on a different point because we need to be on that path, or not need to be, but we are. We are on a path of where we are connecting to the greater abstract, and that where in that abstract we can have a more profound influence, like finding that key leverage point, like you were saying in terms of the curse, Rachel. That's a
yeah.
leverage point. Right now, you are dealing something from an abstract point of view, from that other realm of where there's this greater magic involved, in a more literal magical sense, like in your case now, but the magic of intent. And when we on that surface there, in that world where we're dealing with intent directly, it's a whole different paradigm. And we need to, being aware that it's a different paradigm and not to get sucked in and immersed by the bubbles of the usual regular conventional world, like the bubbles of politics and religion and family and all of this work and all this usual stuff. There just comes a point, in other words, where we have to realize that those things are no longer our things. It's a very profound point because it's a point of freedom. And if we don't let go that, we're never fully able to really and truly get to that abstract world of intent and energy and that overworld of magic, because we'll always be tied. So it's a very, very big deal to realize that the doings of ordinary humanity are no longer ours. It's a tough thing to let go of. It's a tough thing to let go of because, at some point it might even feel selfish or inconsiderate or bubbleness or ego, but it isn't really. It's just, it is what it is, and that's just the reality of it. We have to just be aware. Can't not be aware, right? We can't not be aware
Right.
that we don't live ordinarily anymore.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, you were asking about the movie and watching together. What was the experience?
The experience of
And
watching together, yes.
yeah, so it was because I have already watched that movie because it is one of my favorite movies so far. So 2 times, and but today when we were watching together, my expectations. You can say that kind of my intent was to know what was Sil's reaction. That's why when he asked me, okay, do you like talking between movie? I said, oh yes, of course, because I have already enjoyed that in silence completely. So I said, okay, yes, sure.
Yeah.
And because my intent was to know what he thinks about, and because he do like preempt about observing and observing actions and expressions and other things. So, and
And
he was
looking at
doing that.
implications and looking at intent
Yes.
and extrapolations and
And
exactly.
yeah, so it was a different kind of. It was not like actually watching a movie in a conventional sense, because it was different. Today it was a different thing. It was not like, okay, we are just chilling and watching movie together. No, it was a bit different. Yes, we were enjoying that. I assume that yes, Sil also, because I was enjoying that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I loved watching it with you. It was really fun. And
yeah.
and when I
Uh,
watch movies with my sorry, go on.
Yeah, but for me it was fun, and plus more,
Yeah.
capital M more, because I was keen to know that, uh, how he see things, and watching it third time, it changed my perspective also, because before it was my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, uh, because of other reasons. Like, I like the character, I like that how they go in detail and the finesse, the word Sel used that, and the story was like very close to human nature, normal people. So I was enjoying that, but with a taste, and with a class, and so I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
But today, when I was watching the third time, with a different understanding, with a different
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
So I was watching how we somehow deliberately indulge
Yes.
into uh, uh, into things. We know that yes, it could be, because that man was really cautious about everything. About
Yes.
everything, he
But
was so
also
cautious.
profoundly indulgent.
Yes, and that was really striking for me, that how he could be like this. But this is what we do, or like I'm saying, we as a human in general. So, and it was quite fascinating for me to understand that we need, as on this path of awareness or of impeccability, we need to be really cautious about ourselves, not about others. That, oh, what they are doing, how they are implementing things, and how they are affecting me and my situation, and world overall. But how, and and okay, how I am implementing all these things, and getting affected by and influenced by, especially influenced by, because the character was really cautious and aware and smart,
Right,
but
right.
but
But
it's
yes,
yeah, he got indulged into, and that indulgence uh, just come into like manifest into his life,
yeah, it
and
screwed him over. Exactly.
yes, and a
It
big
came back
time.
on him. Yes, big time.
Yes,
Came back on him. Yes, yes.
yeah,
But
yeah,
from an
yes,
overall universal point of view, in the
yes,
big picture, yes, in the
yes.
big picture, it liberated him also. The
Oh
universe
yes, yes.
used his indulgence to leverage him and to free him. It's quite magical and quite profound. The movie is called The Best Offer, and Jeffrey Rush is the main character. Donald Sutherland is in it as well. And I don't know who the girl is, what her name is. Well, she doesn't have a very big part, but
Oh yes, not really, because mostly when you see her in different scenes,
just
it
yeah,
feels like that she tried to mimic a painting, a portrait.
yes, yes,
Many scenes, quite blank face, and with a specific look, with a
or
specific
right
yeah.
on
Uh,
Android or on automaton, you know.
yes, yes. So she was mimicking, because that guy was obsessed with woman portraits and paintings. So
Right.
she was doing that deliberately.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. It was
so her
intentional,
acting,
correct.
yes, is good, but very different, very
Yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's but anyway, we don't want to give the movie away in case Rachel wants to watch it. But you say you don't watch movies much, so anyway, it's worth watching though. It's kind of fun. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yes.
Right. I watch them while I do other stuff, Rachel. You know, that's why I like
Okay.
to have two at least two screens. You know, so that you can watch. Well, like I just have it on the side, and then I'll do my main stuff, and it just plays. 'Cause you don't have to watch every single scene. You know, you mostly just need to listen. You know, and just kind of every now and then look at what's going on. You know, so. But I'm keen to watch that movie. But it's too late now for you, Beena. But I'm keen to watch
Yeah.
Air with you as well. So.
Oh yes. Tomorrow. My tomorrow.
Yeah.
We
Donna
will
was
watch
on.
that
She
movie.
dropped off just before you. Unfortunately, I hope Donna.
Yes, yes. I just saw her, and my mic was not working, so I couldn't say hello, and
Yeah. Well,
she
she's
just dropped.
driving, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, when she drives, sometimes the connection drops. So it just can't be helped.
Oh, I know how connection drops without having
Uh,
even any
yeah.
reason.
When the wind blows.
Oh yes.
did
And
they
you
did they
even
ever come and fix that, Abina?
oh yes, they fixed that, and
Okay, I thought so. I thought so. Yeah, but even
yeah,
so.
but it
Yeah,
was
Rachel sometimes also drops off. Everybody does. So me too. You
no,
know.
but with me, Rachel, it was really funny, because the cable coming to my apartment was kind of loose and hanging between two buildings. And when the wind blows, it goes off. And I need to wait to wind blow again to make a connection. So my connectivity was swinging actually in the air.
Wow. Wow. Something.
So I was feeling really embarrassed. Sometimes I just said, okay, no more. I'm not going to go back again. So
Wow.
I was doing that. It was so embarrassing,
Um.
because it disturbed a lot of like other people. Yeah.
Wow.
At least
So.
it's eco-friendly, like wind power.
It's quite eco-friendly.
Oh, that's funny.
Eco
That's funny.
better than you
Yeah,
have these fossil fuels.
yeah. Powerful. Rachel, what's been going on inside you, or is going on inside you specifically?
Before I get into that, can I quickly show Beena something?
Oh,
Really good.
sure.
Oh yes, please.
Let's just share button.
The big green one. Oh, the green
It's
one.
turned into a very, very tiny, small. Oh, there we go. There's a very, very. I've redesigned the character a little bit.
Oh,
Is that better? Or
And with Beena, you gotta make your things G-rated, by the way, to protect Gina's innocence. Wow, look at that. Wow.
that's why I did this up, like shoulder, like off shoulder, because it's supposed to be a fantasy like environment.
Wow.
And there is going to be more added to it, right? Like a bland template still not. Gotta add in a few details.
And the intent for this is there's an intent to it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm doing fantasy characters so I can do a story.
Nice. Brilliant.
I mean,
Brilliant.
I'm trying to come up with like fantasy characters for everybody that I've spoken to in this group, and then add them into a story.
That's magical. That's magical. I love that. That is so unbelievably powerful, and just it's a fantastic application.
This character is based on a kitsune, which is a Japanese forest spirit that's supposed to be a trickster. So she's very mischievous.
Oh wow!
They're always depicted, because it's a Japanese character. They're always depicted as like the pinnacle of youth, which is why I've tried doing like a little childlike, innocent kind of face.
Yeah.
But, like,
Okay.
sly look.
Rachel, you made this face, the shape of this face. What you were thinking? What is the actual shape of this? What do you call oval, round? What?
That's the shape of the face. It's anime. That's an anime facial shape. Unlike manga and anime and stuff.
Okay. Why I'm asking because my mother used to say that, oh, Beena, you have a very perfect round face, but other people saying no, it's an oval kind of a face, and there are different people with different saying. But I never actually understand that what is the shape, and I never bothered to actually. But one of my cousin's son, he was very young, like 4 or maybe 5-year-old. So when he came to our house and he was playing, and he saw a necklace, a pendant in my neck, a heart shape, and he says, he called me Ani, and he says, Ani, you are wearing heart, and your face is also a heart shape. And everybody, and everybody was like, oh really? And because I have a widow peak on my forehead, so my hairline is like that, so it makes a bit, and I have a broad, comparatively broader face on my cheekbone and eyes, so it makes look like, and I was so surprised that, and now I saw this, and I feel like, oh yes, this is kind of like perfect shape.
Nice. The shape that represents your face is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I feel that.
Yeah. I like that. That's pretty cool, Beena.
Oh yes.
Well, in the story, this character in particular, she has to earn her tails. Like, she has 9 tails. And she has to earn them through like spiritual like challenges and stuff. And when she achieves her 9th tail, she can turn into a female shapeshift, which is the form that currently have now, but with like each tail she earns, then the more powerful she becomes. Which is why I'm going to give her a staff, because she's a mage, so she can use magic.
Wow.
The 9-tailed fox is a big thing in Japanese mythology.
Yeah, but I'm amazed that Rachel, you have a lot of knowledge about this mythology, different kind of mythology, and also you remember all these stories. It is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And power.
I've got
Translate it into power. That's the key. Knowledge. It's not the knowledge itself that makes the difference. It's what we do with it. Again, since our theme is application, it is how that knowledge is applied and used. That's what makes it into power. So that's
Oh,
the
yes.
thing that makes it remarkable with Rachel. It's how she's applying this, yeah, not the knowledge itself.
Of course.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Like
just need to be particular because it's easy to get, that misconception or misassociation, and it's, so
okay.
it's very, very key to say, it's about the application, usefulness.
Okay. I've changed the shape of the ears from a wolf to fox.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be cool because I like foxes anyway. So.
Yeah, and since you're talking about the nine-tailed deal, because it's that kitsune, which is the nine-tailed fox deal, the Naruto thing. So
Kitsune, nine-tailed fox, kiwi. They have many names for the same thing.
right.
I've always liked the hair. I think.
Okay. Wow. Olivia texted me, and I didn't know that she was also watching the movie.
Yes, I was about to tell you she watched it at the same time, but she watched it over there by her. She didn't want to sit here and watch it, so it's cool that she watched it at the same time. Yeah, it's magical.
Yeah, she said she texted me and she said that.
Oh, good. Good. Oh, good.
Yeah. What she says that enjoyed the movie last night.
Oh,
good. So I was like, oh, really?
And
she texted me that Beena just share more about how to take energy back from people who are doing this, and it's a big question for me. Yes, it is about intent, but there must be something really specific about how to set your intent. Yes, just by saying it's not getting there actually. Maybe just a bit like a little tweak or like I need something really specific for that. I'm not feeling satisfied just by saying that. I don't know why. Maybe I need more or different words.
yeah, but the saying it is not the words. It is the intent underneath. The saying it is simply the mechanism of application. It's putting it out into the wind. You're putting your intent out into the wind. In the same way as Kazim's poem wasn't about him just saying the words. It was the intent to put it out there that made the difference.
Oh, by the way, I sent him a WhatsApp message because I saw him, his number, and I sent it, but and he saw that, but of course when he saw that, it was quite late.
Yeah.
So I will call him. Of course, I'm going to call him again and again until I don't talk to him. So it is like, okay, today I contact him again.
Yeah. Well, until you do talk to him, you mean you'll keep.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Very good, Beena. Very, very good indeed. Very exciting, Beena. Very exciting. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Because my WhatsApp status moving. I don't know how to. Let me read that again to be accurate in words.
Say again now. I'm not following you. You lost me a bit.
Oh yes. I'm just reading my my own status on my.
Well, update it to put your spirit warrior status in there. Yeah, it's very important. Very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah.
Oh yes, oh yes. So moving fearlessly to unknown. So I'm doing that.
Moving the status to unknown.
Yeah, no, it was moving fearlessly to
Oh,
the unknown.
wow.
Yeah,
That's very cool. Wow.
yeah. So and whenever I saw that, I feel that why I actually choose that one and write that, and now it is actually happening. So kind of you can say that it is my own manifestation, and things are really strange, not in a bad way, but
It's
yes, strange.
in
uh,
application right now.
yeah, it is. And it makes me wonder sometimes that why, Beena, why you did that. But okay,
Why you did what?
yin yang. Why I choose that status as moving fearlessly to the unknown without having any in-depth awareness. But I did that.
Wow. Now, is it moving fearlessly to the unknown or into
Yes.
the unknown?
No, it is to the unknown.
Right. But I'm asking you now if that still applies or if into is more appropriate or not. I'm just asking.
Oh yes. Into the unknown. Yes.
Because, to implies that you aren't there, you aren't connected to the unknown
Yes.
yet. But
Yes.
into, I think that's a
Yes.
shift that's occurred.
Yes, I understand. Yes, I understand that.
Okay. I
So
just,
I
elucidating.
feel,
Yeah.
yeah, so I understand, but you're right that it is kind of, because no matter how strange it seems, but I'm just moving. I sometimes it just makes me so wonder that how and why sometimes even, but there is no other way. This is what it is. Whew.
Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting, Beena?
No, life is so mysterious. Life is
And magical.
so.
And magical.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Rachel, do you think so?
Pardon?
I said, do you also think so that life is mysterious and magical and getting more and more mysterious and magical?
Um, Life can be very mischievous, but I wouldn't really say it's continuing to be mysterious to me.
Mm-hmm.
it's not
I
getting
tend,
more and more magical.
magical, yeah, mysterious. No.
No, for me it is, because the more I am being aware, or the more I know, the more I feel that no, that there is something more, and the other more is getting more huge and more interesting and more magical for me, and more mysterious also. So for me, it is. It's good that.
So fantastic. So fantastic. I just love it. I just love it. There's always more, right? There's always more.
Yeah, and it makes me like, okay, yes, the more I understand, the more I understand that there is also more. There is all other more out there. So I
I
don't know
mean,
how to say that, but please, yes, please,
I
Rachel.
can agree that there's more. I can agree that there's more.
Mm.
But it's like the more I look, the more I understand. The more I understand, the less mysterious things get, but the more magical things seem.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Hmm.
I guess I'm just one of those. I'm just a knowledge seeker, really. I
Yeah.
strive to know more.
A knowledge seeker
And
or an awareness seeker?
Knowledge and awareness are
There
also
you go. Exactly. The two are related. And when we understand that knowledge is, that it's a leverage mechanism for awareness, because otherwise we can get lost in that academic bubble of seeking knowledge for knowledge's sake, and they miss out on the awareness that comes with it. And then it really is just a closed loop, and it doesn't really benefit them. They have all this knowledge, but they haven't actually grown and developed as a person. Their character hasn't grown. Their awareness hasn't grown. They aren't connected, and they're just in a bubble, and it's a waste. It's meaningless. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, knowledge can be dangerous if sought for knowledge's sake.
Exactly. Without awareness, it's just dangerous. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
for me,
And without
awareness,
implication, it is waste.
Without application, it's wasted. Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
wisdom is awareness.
And particularly that application of character, application of awareness. Yeah. Application of attunement. Yeah. Very powerful. Very powerful. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's just so huge for me. It's just so huge, so profound, such a big deal. It's just really massive. So I kind of pause on it because it's just such a profoundness, when we see things that way, it gets so unbelievably more and magical and huge, but at the same time, so incredibly simple as well, Yeah.
Yes, when like you always say, life is simple.
Yeah.
Okay,
Life
come
is
on.
easy. Life is easy. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, life is easy. Come on, life. How can this be easy? It is really complex thing, but yes.
Yeah. 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 That's something. Yeah. Yeah. Living might be hard, but life, it's easy. Look around you. There's life everywhere. So it's got to be easy.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes. I mean,
A little different perspective on things. A little different perspective. What's the time, Beena?
uh, it's uh, it's 10:40 now, so
Bedtime.
almost my time to go
Hmm.
to bed. But we have guests, so I will sit with them for a few minutes, and then I will
With
say,
what
okay, I'm good.
intent?
With what intent? To be appropriate, because they are here. So I
What
need to
about
be
what about the intent of understanding life and perspective and motivations and goals and joys and likes and dislikes from their perspective? What about
ah
adding that as an additional intent?
but it will take like too much effort and energy.
Not really. The same way as we watch the movie from that point of view. Just simply sit
Hmm.
and enjoy in the conversation, and just basically watch the movie in the same way as we watched in that interactive watching of the movie. Same deal. To do the same thing.
Mhm.
You're not saying anything or doing anything necessarily. It's more internal, your comments and perceptions, but nonetheless, you're still observing and enjoying the interaction in the exact same way. Look, that guy's life and that whole movie, that's not our life. And it's not one that we necessarily want either because, of all the reasons. But that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy observing it and understanding it. And we extracted a lot out of it, right?
Hmm.
You can do the same process with that interaction now of the guests. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what is this, Rachel?
Tamaki.
Wow.
It means raccoon dog in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
Raccoon dog.
Tamaki.
Wow.
Hmm.
I'm calling it Tamaki, but it's not a raccoon dog.
This is more like a little mini dragon type thing, yeah.
It's a familiar.
Right.
A familiar is a spiritual entity that's employed by a magical practitioner.
Ah.
Basically, it's a the best friend.
Like the witch's cat. The cat is a familiar. You know.
Yeah, like the witch's cat, but only
Yeah.
not a cat. And more of a light-hearted thing because although it's based on a familiar, he's really happy because he's found a cookie.
Huh.
Yeah. My favorite character, Cookie Monster.
Interesting.
I have many, but Cookie Monster and the Grouch are my favorite.
Wow.
Grouch is no one's favorite so far. I never met anyone who likes Grouch, but I like him.
Interesting.
Small man.
Well, that gives me hope, I guess. So.
Who's your favourite Muppet?
Sorry?
Who's your favourite Muppet?
When she just said the two, aren't they Muppets? That she said her favorite Muppet is Cookie Monster and
yes.
Grouch?
No,
Yeah.
Cookie Monster's from Sesame Street.
Oh.
Yes, and Grouch also.
Oh, they're not Muppets. Ah, right, okay.
It's made by the same person, Jim Henson, but it's separate. Muppets is like Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy.
Yeah, for me, I just lumped them all together, you know.
Oh yes, for me also.
Yeah. I mean, Sesame Street is also Muppets, but okay. I don't know that. So in the difference there, do you know the difference between the two shows specifically, Beena? To answer.
Oh yes. I saw that. But for me, like, okay, I was just telling the character, so it was like, okay. Grouch is one of my favorite. Oscar the Grouch, and.
Well, you even know his name, Oscar the Grouch. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yes, and the other was Cookie Monster.
What's his name? What's his name?
It is just Cookie Monster.
Oh, he doesn't have a name like Oscar.
No.
No, he has. His name is the Cookie Monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Cookie Monster. Oh, I like that.
Okay. Just to be formal, but he's and I like the way I like the way he talks. Like, sometimes me think and then me do this. So
He talks in third person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just love that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah.
He's my brother's favorite as well.
I haven't watched either of those shows very much. Little snippets here and there, but.
So you know that Oscar the Grouch, you know?
Oh, I know the characters, yes, but I never watched the shows. You know, I know them because I pay attention to precisely what I was recommending you do with your visitors. I pay attention to culture in general, and Sesame Street and the Muppets are a big part of culture. So I pay attention to know what it's about. You know, at least to have a familiarity with what the characters are, who they are. I don't know the individual stories, you know, I don't watch many episodes, but I might not even have watched any episodes. I've just assimilated it from snippets here and there, people referencing it. I just made that effort to know what it's about. So, you know.
It is like, okay, because it's green, so maybe because my favorite pet was frog and turtle. So
wow, interesting. So how about Kermit then?
Yes, that's so. Sometimes I do post select my profile pic as Kermit.
So well, there's your answer then. Your favorite Muppet would be Kermit then, yeah?
No, not really. But yes, I do find Oscar and Cookie Monster both funny and more cute. But yes, Kermit is everyone's favorite.
Ernie and Bernie. I think that's what they're called. No, they're not. I forgot the names. You would love these Muppets because they are so they are really sarcastic and funny, and the two little old men as well. I forgot their names. 1 minute, I'm just gonna Google it because it's driving me mental.
I think I know who you're talking about too. Yeah, two old guys that kind of hang out together.
Yeah. Stalter and Waldorf. I will go onto YouTube and I'll pull up a clip, one of my favorite clips from them. But they got renowned in the Muppets for being really, really, really sarcastic and really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, the two original guys that played them, I think, was Jim Henson and his friend at the time, who I'm pretty sure was a gay man, was like really into him. I did all this research on Muppets, Sesame Street, and Dark Crystal because in special effects, Jim Henson, who created them all, he was known for being like the father of special effects and stuff, and I'm really into all that, so I looked at all to do a bit of research on how he did them all.
Wow.
And so that's where I made the connection between Sesame Street and Muppets, because they're two separate shows. They're completely two separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh. Sesame Street and all the characters like Miss Piggy and Emo and all the characters and puppets were cute for me, and Ernie and I don't know there were so many at that time.
Yeah, usually when people ask me a favorite, I say I don't really like to have a favorite because the moment you choose a favorite, you kind of devalue everything else. So I pretty much enjoy them all, you know.
Well, for me, when I say I have a favourite, it's just the one that I enjoy looking at the most.
Yeah, but I try to avoid that mindset because it limits my enjoyment of everything else. So I try and enjoy it all. In other words, you know, I just make that habit. Just a personal choice, you know. My own weirdness, in other words.
I was not a big fan of Big Bird, but other characters are more because sometimes the Big Bird, the birdie, sounds like very mature and serious one. So I was not getting that.
Oh dear.
So, and the Grouch was a grouch always. So for me, it was more funny.
Interesting.
Oscar the Grouch.
Dalter and Waldorf were like, whenever they appeared, they would always take the mick out of whoever they were watching, and they were just like two really old, grouchy men that just take the mick out of everything.
Why?
I sent you the link. I put the link in.
Oh yes, please. Oh,
you
said that. Okay.
Which
before
is
going
interesting
there,
in the best offer, he's a grouch. Maybe he starts off as one, doesn't he? Well, Beena, he starts off as a grouch.
Yes. And he was assuming that he was quite sophisticated. It's interesting that you said he's a grouch. He's a grouch.
Yeah. He was aware of his grouchness to some degree, though.
Oh yes, that's why he accepted.
Right, but he also leveraged his grouchness. It was a tool for him. As part of his success was being a grouch, because he leveraged it with insistence and he cued it as a power, and it gave him that hierarchical dominance to be able to insist on having it his way. And that insistence is what made him a specialist. And because his insistence and his grouchiness is not founded on nothing, it's founded on very real application and skill. So that's why he could leverage it. Interesting, yeah? Yeah, a little different perspective. I mean, it's a manipulation to a large degree, and he knows that it's a manipulation. That kind of a character in that type of a situation, they do this knowingly, and they leverage it. You know, they basically become kind of bullies in a way.
But it's the kind of fun bully, though, isn't it?
It's what? Say again, Rachel?
It's not bullying in the sense of what bully stands for, but it's not really bullying to me.
Right, right. It's insistence. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
being humorous. I mean, it can go pear-shaped,
Right, right,
but it's not necessarily always pear-shaped.
right. No, no, no. Again, it's part of his skill. You know, so I said it's a very skilled application. But there's you know he's let's just say his ethical lines are somewhat fluid.
Mm.
So you know when you look at it
Okay,
from
now
that
I gotta
perspective.
go.
All right, all right.
It's
Enjoy
it's
your
almost
visitors,
11.
Beena. Enjoy your visitors.
I will see that, and because
Yeah,
I was ready to sleep, but yes, okay.
but from this different
Hopefully.
perspective now, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It becomes an entirely different engagement. Yes,
Yes.
completely different thing. You are doing something else entirely. They might not be aware of what you're doing, but it doesn't matter. You know what you're doing. Yeah,
Okay.
isn't that exciting?
Okay. Oh yes, it is exciting. At the time for going to bed, instead of going to bed, I have to just be there,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling sleepy. I don't know why. I was not very interested in, but I have to.
But now
So
you are
that's it.
interested because now it becomes field research. Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay.
Very, very, very big difference. Very, very big.
Yeah. Okay, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here because I really enjoy your 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 drawing also, and you impressed me by your skill. Really.
I've
uh,
nearly done my
I
picture anyway. You just need to colour in the hair and the ears, and then I can send it to you.
oh
The first.
yes.
I'm still
Oh
working on it,
yes.
but it's nearly
Oh
done.
please.
Little by little,
Okay.
little by little, leads to leaps and bounds.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Bye bye, Beena. Bye bye. Enjoy.
Okay.
Enjoy. See you tomorrow.
Pleasure
Oh
talking to you.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye bye, Beena. Oh, it's magical. Oh, it's magical. I aspire to such grace. Yeah, Rachel.
I am now drawing another character for the little story, and this one is based on Chew, on you, a little bit younger version now. Because
Ah,
I
brilliant.
like keep drawing people old. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with old people, you know. It's just
Yeah.
I don't want to keep drawing you old because I
Oh,
don't
you
want
want to
you.
keep drawing in any particular way, right? You want to mix it up
Yeah,
and vary it. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to keep drawing the same character based on the same person as being the same thing constantly.
Exactly, exactly. You want to be fresh and variable. That's precisely what we were talking about in our way of being. We don't want to draw ourselves in the same way, in the same style all the time either. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's something. And that's something.
As her waist, so I'm gonna have to do.
I mean, I just love the application directly in your drawing. You know, the actual physical, practical application of what we were talking about in the abstract. I just love that. It's just so incredible and magical.
I like your hair and your beard, so I'm keeping that.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, I really do. I think you have a really cool beard.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to put
It,
it
it,
here.
it is its own entity right now.
I
Actually,
also like
it's a,
the
it's a,
big.
it's a little mess right now, but you see, it's got the three long, and then it's got the five on top. It's one, two, and on the side. Yeah, I don't know if you can see now. I need a mirror. I can't really see, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So this you know
it's
they
like a
just kind
Viking
of
beard.
like decided to grow of their own accord like this. So all right, so there's five and three altogether. You know.
Like a Viking beard. Because they used to do that with their beards, you know.
Right. It becomes a practical thing after a while if you don't cut your beard. You know.
Yeah. It's just like Vikings braided their beards as well. And it
Right.
looks like, and because of the dreads you've got in your beard, it looks like you braided it from a
Well,
distance.
there were braids originally. You see, the bottom part here is braid, but then I just kind of it just started growing so fast. I kind of got behind on because you have to undo the braid and redo it, and it just takes a lot of time. So I this one has been rebraided a little bit, and this one I started combing it out for the purposes of rebraiding it, but I want to comb it all out. It takes very long to uncomb a braid, a dreadlock, by the way. It's very slow process, but I will do it with this one eventually too. You know, as high as I can go, and then rebraid it. So yeah, it's just very time consuming.
Sounds tedious.
Yeah, that's why I just leave it and let it go and do its own thing. You know, I'm into efficiency and practicality, time saving. You know, couldn't be bothered. I'm not into vanity. The reason that I grew these, it's a philosophical application. It has nothing to do with looks or image or anything like that. It was just in the new nobility, they leverage physical appearance to extend themselves and also to particularly specifically and deliberately cue others that they are other. So their physical appearance, they go to great lengths to be other in their physical appearance. It's an artistic expression, yes, but mostly it is to cue somebody when they see you in this totally other way of looking and being. It's like, whoa, this isn't the usual person. They don't fit into the conventional boxes of mother, father, student, professor, whatever. No. So when you're ticking off the boxes of how to categorize this person, because that's what people do immediately when they see you, they have to put you in the box of other. You see, and that for you is the power of being in the box of trans, as opposed to being woman or
Yeah.
man. But when you're in that box of trans, you're automatically other. So people have to relate to you as other. Now they don't know what to expect from you, which means they're open to actually hearing you. When like if I meet somebody and let's say I don't have the beard and I'm just looking like a regular person and they put me in the box of I don't know, whatever, let's just say okay, philosopher.
Normal Joe.
Well, even not normal Joe, but just a writer. That may be a better box. Well, as a writer, they have preconceptions and ideas, or even philosopher, like a philosopher's academic and they theoretical and technical and all this shit. Which I'm none of those. Yes, I am a philosopher, but I'm not that kind of a philosopher. But when I'm in the box of other, I can now share my other philosophy, which is a more philosophy. It's a whole different way of coming at philosophy. It's a practical, personal philosophy, which is entirely different to the typical perceptions of philosophy. But it makes them able to actually hear what it is that I am saying. So without that initial shift of conception and putting into that box and being open, they wouldn't be able to hear that. So it's very powerful to leverage. So that's so the beard is for that purpose. It opens things up. It's very powerful. Very powerful. Very fun too.
Well, this guy is blind physically.
Okay, and there's another practical value to it as well. When it's long like this, it becomes a mindfulness and practical awareness mechanism, because you have to be aware with a beard like this. You don't get it caught in stuff. It doesn't get when you're washing your dishes, it doesn't end up in the sink and stuff like that. So a very simple mechanism, but I use lots of mechanisms like that. A lot of habit changing mechanisms. It is all a session about this in the way of impeccability, about leveraging our daily habits and routines for an awareness generating mechanism. It's not to change our routines necessarily, but it's to get into the habit of being aware about our routines and what we do, so that we don't just fall into it by default. Any warrior on the battlefield who's a routine, who's confined and constricted by habits, they die very quickly. Any enemy who knows them, anybody who fights them, the first thing you do is you look for someone's habits and routines. Once you know their habits and routines, well, it's very easy to catch them or kill them or defeat them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as a spirit warrior, we don't want to have any habits and routines. We want to be doing everything consciously and deliberately. Yeah. And we want to have that ability to shift and not be locked into any habits and routines. Very, very, very powerful. So the beard is part of that, leveraging mechanism.
You can be a spiritual shapeshifter. You need to learn to be a physical one too.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm calling this guy the blind fool.
All right.
That's this character's name.
Wow. It doesn't look all that foolish, but it's something.
See, but that's the beauty in it, though, isn't it? Because He calls himself the blind fool, but he's actually the wisest out of all of the characters.
That's his magic, because he's unboxing himself. Because now, if you think of him as a fool, you don't have a box where you're expecting him to be wise. In other words, he's free to be anything. If you start off from a fool and then you come with wise, well, okay, that's a bonus, right? But it's not a box. So he can be appropriate, because sometimes appropriateness requires us to be foolish. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why he's the comical relief of the story.
Wow, brilliant,
He's
brilliant.
he's the character that
But that's why the fools in the old days, the king's fool, the court jester, was actually a very profound advisor, because by being the fool, they were enabled to say absolutely anything. They could say the awful truth. They could say the awkward truth. They could call out the king by basically kind of making a joke about him, kind of ripping him a new one in a sense, but it's exposing the flaw, the thing, whereas saying it directly is problematic. So yeah, a lot
yeah.
of power in being a fool. Lots
The
of
only problem with the court jester is the court jester did what he did out of fear, because if he said something or hit too close to the belt with the king would have him executed.
Well, it depends on the court, depends on the king and the court jester, but nonetheless, it did give them a greater scope. All the advisors were under that constraint. The court jester had a greater license to get away with stuff.
That gives me a cool idea for this character.
Yeah. Give him a jester cap.
Saying, what's the difference between the fool and the king? I don't know. One's got money and the other one is employed to make a fool of himself. No. The difference between the fool and the king is the fact that the fool is the king. So therefore, who's really the fool or the king? Well, if the king's the fool, then the fool is the king, because they're one and the same. Are they one and the same, or are they both two separate entities and two separate beings that operate differently? I'm not really sure what you're talking about. What's the conversation? What were we talking about?
Nothing. I just when you brought up
No,
this
that's
character.
what you said.
Oh, about the beard. I was just saying the beard is a.
No, that's what the character says.
Oh, I
Because
see. Oh! I thought you were asking me. I'm sorry.
It goes straight. It goes deep into like this philosophical conversation, and then confuses people, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" And then he pretends that they weren't talking in the first place, or he's like, "I forgot the conversation."
Wow!
But then when they think about what he's actually saying, they can find the wisdom in it.
Wow! Yeah, I like this conception of the fool and the king being one and the same, especially in a magical mythological story. And then at some point the king or the fool becomes aware of this, and and then it changes the whole story. At first they don't know it, and then later they become aware of it.
All kings realize that they're a fool, which is why they. And when they realize it, they either ignore it or they throw a temper tantrum and have someone executed. But the wise king embraces the fact that he's a fool.
Yeah.
Why have given him Viking makeup? Which is what these are there. That's a Viking makeup.
Yeah. Wow. It also almost looks, that gives it a very Japanesey look. Almost looks like a, I don't know why it does for me, but it gives it that look of it.
Probably the kind eyes and the fact that the Japanese always draw.
Well, no, when you added the makeup, it made it look that way. I don't know for what reason, but it did. So.
No idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, sometimes just associations or peculiar things,
I'm going to give him not robes, but a tunic. Because before he was in with these people, he lived as a hermit in the middle of a forest. And he joins the group because, quote unquote, he got bored.
I like that. That's very cool. That's very cool, Rachel.
When he meets them, they're on a quest to find to save the kingdom. So they like have this like apocalyptic creature that's coming around to destroy things, and he's the only one doing it because he's bored. And the demon's like, "Why are you helping them? You're so powerful. You could do anything. You could rule the world." And he's like, "Because I don't want to rule the world, and I'm helping them because I'm bored and I've got nothing better to do."
Wow.
Which I think is really funny. I think that's his character. That is like so him.
Huh. That's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting, Rachel. That's pretty exciting.
I mean, I like this character. I like the sound of this character. I like the way this character's going.
Yeah, yeah.
Might even be best character.
Might even be one.
Best character.
Oh, wow. It's a very powerful character. Very fun character too. Very fun indeed.
I mean, I don't want to rip on anyone too much because I'm going to add Ryan in it too.
Oh.
I'm going to add myself in it as well. I'm going to add.
But you're using these as just starting points, and then you're going to basically transform and distort them, and at the end of the day, yes, like Ursula, it was inspired by a raid leader in WoW, but the character is completely different from that person. Whereas
Well,
Cornelius is very similar because I use his actual dialogue. But we can take somebody as an inspiration and transform them completely. That some parts are the same and some are completely different, and that's kind of fun.
when I make a character and I base that character on a person like this character, when you look at this character facially, you can see that he has your beard.
Right.
He has a similar attitude, although I've made the attitude different.
Wow, look at the eyes just suddenly popped for whatever reason. I don't know. Did you do something?
No.
All of a sudden, the eyes just kind of popped to me, like they came on. Like when you have like kind of glowy eyes. I don't know that.
Because he's blind. He's physically.
Right. Wow. But all of a sudden, they just popped out. This is fascinating. Okay. I don't know what happened there. That's trippy. Huh.
It's, I would just accentuate the person's attitude. So, you like say yourself that you're more positive, you don't mind being an idiot, you do self-deprecating humor, like call yourself ugly, blah 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 blah.
Right.
You help all these people look at things in a certain way, and then when I apply that to this character, I accentuate it. So he becomes a character that's light-hearted, a character that is not taking anything seriously. He understands the gravity of certain things. He accepts that, like, the quest that they're on, he's doing it because he's bored. That isn't the truth. The character is mysterious in that aspect because he does understand things are going to part. He understands that he needs to help. He understands that he's powerful. He knows his limitations, but he's trying to have fun rather than stay in the doom and gloom because everyone else is just like, when they try and save something, they're always looking at it a serious standpoint. Look, we can't mess around. This isn't funny, kind of thing. And he's like, well, why can't it be funny? Because it can be fun. It can be an adventure. You're all just looking at it from a certain point of view. Yes, what we're doing is serious, but it's in that aspect. It also doesn't have to be serious.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just like a more extreme version of you.
Wow. Oh, that's very cool. I enjoy that. That's really fun, Rachel.
I'm going to draw Ryan. I'm going to draw him really brooding.
Yeah. Interesting.
This is the one character that brings them all together.
Interesting. Interesting.
And this one, I can go into detail about this one. When they find her, she's already got all of her 9 tails, which I haven't drawn in yet. But she, if you're familiar with the Kitsune, the 9-tailed fox mythology, they are mischievous.
Yeah.
They're feared as a demon because in their mythology that's what they are.
They
didn't want
demons. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to say that to Beena,
Oh,
but
it's okay. You can say.
She does what all kitsunes do. She
Yeah.
tricks people, she kills people, she does the same things that everyone does, but her forest is in danger and that she's trying to save the forest because humans are doing deforestation to her forest. Hence why
Right.
fighting back against people. But she meets the main protagonist, and when I say main protagonist, I mean like the character that starts it all, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which of course is going to be the one that's based on me, because it's from my perspective again. So when she meets this character, she's gonna be like, I will join you because you helped me save my forest from these humans.
Wow. Cool.
And yeah. Then she basically starts becoming attached, basically, because the main protagonist is an elf from Alfheim, because this is going to be like behind the veil kind of thing, where it's not going to be like swords and shields, everyone's got swords and shields, isn't those times,
Yeah.
It's like modern day times, but what's happening in the spirit world, kind of.
Ah, it's exciting, right? It's exciting, man.
So yeah.
By the way, I like to. I almost. Well, not almost. I don't like on profile pics in general.
Right.
And also just personal selfies and stuff. Just my personal thing to essentially not propagate the entire narcissism, selfie, me vibe of that Facebook is. That really it's founded on, to some extent. So I try not to encourage that in my own little small tiny way. Not that it makes any difference to anybody whatsoever, but nonetheless. Because it's not important to me. It's totally irrelevant what you look like. I couldn't get two hoots anybody what you look like, right? But in your case, you posting your particular profile pic in that look, it's very important. It's a big deal. It's got nothing to do with anybody liking it or not liking it. It's the fact that you are putting it out there. That's something. I don't know if you've posted them before or not. I'm assuming so, but nonetheless, the fact that you are putting it out there and you're saying this, I'm happy to put this out there. I can put it out there. I'm comfortable putting it out there. I have no problem putting it out there. Very powerful, very significant. Yeah.
My new profile picture.
The one that I commented on that you replied to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know how old it is, but it just came up in my notifications. So, okay.
I actually took that when I first moved into the house that I'm currently living in. So it is an old.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you are posting the picture of Rachel, you know what I mean? And that you're saying, hey, yeah, I am, So.
I had it up before, but people started telling me that it was inappropriate for Facebook because it's showing cleavage.
Oh, come on. Who said
I
that?
took it down, but now I'm just like,
What? Who ever said that? It's like, come on, people,
anyone who tells me that this time around is going to be told to, if you don't like it, then fuck off.
Just too bad, You know, if you haven't seen cleavage on Facebook, then I don't know where the hell you've been living. You know, it's like, come on.
It was friends with benefits who was a bit of a control freak.
Oh,
He freaks me out.
you know, we gotta be careful of listening to specific people sometimes. You know, they can talk a lot of rubbish. In other words, so.
Because he really did used to freak me out because he kept like drawing parrot. He kept trying to dress me up like his sister.
Oh wow! Oh,
which
goodness.
implies that he
Yeah,
wants to.
yeah, some inappropriateness going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
No, dude, no, dude, no.
you know.
Yeah, no. Keep your weirdness to yourself. Don't suck me into your freaking nonsense.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, if you have inappropriate thoughts of your sister, then she needs to get away from you as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep the flow of this tale.
Ah, nice. Let's see. Oh.
You do like tails and stuff, so now if I delete that, how's that going to look? Yeah, it looks like a fox tail.
Yeah, to some extent. It looks like a foxtail on an arm, the way I'm seeing it now, like a left arm, but the foxtail, you know, it's an arm that goes into a foxtail. I'm just looking at it from, you know, a kind of a distorted perspective somewhat. So.
Yeah. There's one tail. I think I'll finish her later. She's got a lot of bits added to her.
It's interesting how you do a little bit here, you do a little bit there, and you know.
Yeah, they call me a chaotic artist.
Well, if it works for you, who the hell cares?
Only because I don't follow artist rules. Like,
Is there any artist that really is an artist that does such a thing? It's like a writer. I always tell the writers, you know, there's only one bloody rule, and that's there are no rules. That's it.
yeah, that's the thing. People are like,
Any art. Rule number
artists.
one of art, there are no rules.
They always say that artists have no rules, but actually there are actually artist rules. Like, if you're doing shading, how to make something look round.
Yeah. But then again, you watch at some point you'll find artists break those rules. You know, so that's they're not. Yes, they are mechanisms and there are rules, but they kind of there's also no rules. You know that you can use it as you like to use it. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's a nice perspective to have overall that you don't have to follow the rules. That's more the point. That yes, they are there and they are valuable and they are useful. But you don't have.
There's this guy I watch who's called Drawing with Mikey on his YouTube channel. He's called Drawing with Mikey. He draws a lot of like erotica. Like when he draws his like the hips in this character would be how he does it, which is like a smaller waist, larger hips for female characters. And as you can see, tell by this character's figure, he is big and bulky. And it's not because it's like sexualization. It's actually called emphasis art.
Yes.
So I'm emphasizing the mischievous look in her face by making her, in the pose that she's in, femininity in the hips. Even look at the stuff she's wearing is a bit clunky. And he's got broad shoulders because obviously he's a masculine character, so he's going to have masculine emphasis on him. But the broad shoulders means that he bears a lot of weight on his shoulders. His big arms means that he's quite strong mentally. Because this isn't a physical character. This character just doesn't do things physically. And the only reason why he's got his arm around her is because he's like talking to her. Because the conversation between them two is she's saying, "What shall I call you?" And he's saying, "Call me the blind fool." And he's looking this way because he's actually physically blind, so he doesn't actually need to look in any specific direction because of his blindness.
Yes. I like this, Rachel. It's very soothing to my heart. I don't know. It's very nice.
Then you have her familiar, who
Wow. Wow.
I think this character is really cute. This particular character.
Yeah.
Even give him his little thing.
Yeah. That's very cool, Rachel. Very cool. Very cool. Like I said, it soothes me. Just see that. Soothing.
Alf from Alfheim. I don't know. I was originally going to do Ryan as like a bull.
A bull? Yeah. Or a rhino.
No, like Minotaur kind of character.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But then I was just like thinking about it, and it was just like, I could draw him as an anthropomorphic wolf, like a werewolf. So now I'm trying to think of mythology, but it's all like what the character, the mythical character symbolizes, because, like I said, she's a kitsune,
Yeah.
so she's going to be like mysterious and stuff. He's actually going to end up being, his mythological character is actually a deity. Hence why he is the way he is.
Huh.
He's not just like some old man that was wandering a forest. He's literally a deity. More particularly, the deity of merrymaking.
Oh, very exciting.
But he doesn't want to tell anyone what he is, because if he does, they'll all become lax and lazy and rely on his power. Because
Yeah.
obviously, being a god, he's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
He's like a god, a kitsune, a fucking minotaur. And I think I'll change the main character to an anthropomorphic dragon. I think that describes me pretty well.
Very interesting.
Right. See if I can remember this. So yeah, how I've been feeling lately. Going back to one of your questions about what have I been doing lately abstractly, and how else have I been feeling other than the election.
I was more thinking of today specifically, right now.
Well, I've been feeling a bit down today because of the whole election thing.
Right.
So, but I'm not letting it ruin my day.
There you go. There
It's
you go.
like-
There you go. So you're choosing to feel the way you want to feel, regardless of external circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's very powerful.
it's the way I want to do, but it's still there. I can still feel the upset.
Right.
Again. And the only reason why I say anger is because the amount of nastiness that the media has been doing towards a particular person that I don't agree with.
Right.
All comes back down to money.
Yeah, there's a lot of bandwagon jumping right now.
Yeah, it all started with Trump, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, it's changing the world. Like I said, it's forcing that entire perspective to come out, to say, whoa, that we can't be sitting on our hands anymore.
Exactly.
We got to do shit now. We can't just say, it is what it is. It's going to be okay. We just got to ride it out. And, no. not gonna happen. You got to do shit. We got to change the system.
Yeah, it's just like the
And when I'm talking change, I'm talking paradigm shift change.
I was reading this thing like a little while ago. It was saying that things are changing spiritually.
Yeah.
That the world is becoming more like a utopia.
Oh yeah.
And before any of that will happen, things have to get worse before they'll even start to get better.
Right. Exactly. Because you need that impetus to change. Right. You need that pressure, that leverage pressure. Otherwise, nothing happens. So,
It's just the way it is.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting.
This Minotaur's got a broken horn because he fought Hercules.
Ah. Bloody Hercules. You're a troublemaker.
No, it's because it was more like they wanted to test each other's strength.
Yeah.
The character is one that's obsessed with physical strength, which is a concept that I've added in because that's how I feel Ryan is.
Interesting.
I feel that Ryan's a little bit too obsessed with inner strength.
Yeah.
That he strives for it so desperately and so much.
Yeah, it's very insightful, Rachel. That's very insightful.
I don't know if it's true. It's just the way he comes across to me.
Oh, yeah. As I said, it's insightful because I do perceive the same thing. That yeah.
And don't get me wrong, but that's a good thing. If the fact that he strives for it so much, because that means he has that want and will.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't imbalance you, though.
As long as you don't become obsessed and that's all you are.
Exactly. He needs
Because
balance. Yeah.
And he won't realize he's unbalanced until he's actually achieved inner peace, and then gets that moment where he's like, well, what do I do now?
Why?
So I think he does need to be careful, but
Oh, very much needs to be careful. Yes.
who am I to tell him and point out to him? He's got to figure this out for himself. So
Yeah. But you can put it out there into the universe through your art. So whether or not it makes any difference, we don't know. But at least we feel like, hey, I've done my little bit. Sometimes those things do come at us and we get these life lessons. And where did this come from? Well, from the universe taking this benign intent and utilizing it and making it appropriate and bringing it to us. So it's very powerful. It's very, very exciting. It's very cool, Rachel. Very cool.
every single character here has an issue that gets resolved throughout the story.
Wow.
Basically, the things that I see with people that they're based on, like Beena's character, for example, she's too in your face and too much.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
too what's the word? When someone's like so something that they come across is like, oh, I want to avoid this person and can only handle them in small doses. What's the word?
Uh,
Bit much. And throughout the story, she learns to calm himself down. And that's not necessarily how I see Beena is now. It's
no.
more like I can imagine that at some point she may have been like that.
Right.
It's just the way she comes across to me.
Interesting.
And throughout the story, she's the one that gets there quicker than anyone else. She starts calming herself down, and she can read between the lines of the other character who's trying to help him out. The god, the fool.
Yeah. Wow.
He's the kind of like the character that changes them all. And towards the end of the story, they all realize how much they've changed and stuff. And then
Wow.
that's when he reveals that he's actually a deity, and that if they didn't change the way that they have done, then their mission would have ended in failure.
Wow. I love the story, Rachel. I love the story. It's really, really something special.
And especially with this character here, this Minotaur, he starts off with being obsessed with physical strength, and he wants to be the strongest ever. He wants to go back and fight Hercules, and this time he wants to win. And he realizes that that attitude is the reason why he can't beat Hercules, because he's so obsessed with it that he needs to remember that sometimes it makes you stronger to walk away and accept defeat.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was saying to Beena, when I watch the movies like that, for me, part of the fun of the movie is anticipating what's to come and to guess at where the movie's going to go. And, to extrapolate and see if you can figure out the flow and the pattern of the movie. And then, of course, towards the end of the movie or at the end of the movie, part of the fun is also to then see how exactly wrong you were.
Yeah.
Not how right you were, how wrong you were. To have the ability to be able to put an idea out that's wrong is a very profound skill. And it's a
But then,
huge deal. People always
but
hung up on being right. You got to put stuff out and test it and explore. Okay, so it doesn't work out. So what? The fact that you put it out, this is what gives it, you get to see whether it works or not work. So it's a very powerful skill, the ability to be wrong. And to enjoy being wrong, this is an even bigger skill. Yeah?
um, well, that's the thing, because when you put something out there, like these characters, they could be completely wrong, or based on the people that they're based on. But then when it gets published and put out there, there'll be at least one person who goes, you know what, that Minotaur reminds me of myself.
Right. Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
it's not appropriate to the person that you're applying it to, but it's appropriate to someone else.
Why? Why?
Which is why I've done this character pretty big and bulky, because he is all testosterone. Why he's snarling, because this snarl is his normal face. This is him smiling.
Mm.
He's actually happy.
Well, he does look kind of happy in his own snarly way.
Because that's the way Ryan comes across to me. Is
Yeah.
even when he's happy, he looks angry. It's a resting bitch face, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Because there's not the inner peace. There's a bit of inner turmoil still. It's unresolved stuff in there. Yeah.
I mean, my mom has an amazing resting bitch face.
Ah, interesting.
You could be part way through a conversation with her actually, and then she'll just like side glance you and look down her nose at you, and like it's like she's glaring at you. And then when you say to her, "What's the matter? You alright?" She's like, "Yeah, I've just listened to what you're saying. Why? What's up?"
Yeah.
Very,
Some
very
people have very
upset.
sober, serious faces. Yeah.
But to be fair, the life that she's lived hasn't exactly been a nice one. So
Yeah. And that's something. People live some wild lives out there, you included. So we all have our own wild lives in some way or another.
yeah, I get it that my life hasn't been as easy as most, but compared to a lot of people, my life has been relatively
Yeah,
smooth.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
I'm going to give him the famous um, earring and the famous bull ring.
Wow.
But it's not going to be a case of a normal bull ring, because this one is like a jewelry piece.
Oh, I'll look in a moment. I'm just doing something. I'm not looking there right now.
Circle, circle, circle. There we go.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Can't quite make it out very clearly, but
It's because it's done so thinly.
hmm.
It a piece of string that's going from one nostril to the other nostril, and it's got like pieces coming down.
Ah, gotcha.
And there's the bull one done. Hercules broke his horn, one of his horns.
Yeah, but they are Hercules. Be careful, man.
He was really upset when he lost his horn because he likes his horns.
Yeah.
His beast-like nature, and he was like really upset one of them was broken. And then this guy, the god, was like, "Wow, look on the bright side. At least you didn't lose an arm."
Yeah, not only that, but he learns eventually to wear it as a badge of honor. Why?
Exactly. I was about to
Because
say that.
yeah, because he says, "Hey, I survived the fight with Hercules. Here's my
Yeah.
proof. All Hercules could do was broke my horn. He didn't kill me."
Exactly. There's the thing that I was going to do with him the most was the fact that, you know, he says, scars is what makes you more of a warrior. So a broken horn means it adds not to your beast nature, but it adds to your warrior instincts.
Right, your survival nature, exactly.
Exactly, because now you're everything that a warrior is.
Right.
And these are all spiritual creatures who are spirit warriors.
Exactly. Exactly.
See how I'm taking a concept?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it, Rachel. I love it. That's what I was talking about. It's the start of the conversation is that application. All of this, it's this perpetual, continual application. It is really magical. It's really something special.
Right, now time to add another character.
Say that again. You broke up there.
I'm going to add Donna's character now.
Wow. Okay.
I am going to do Donna as... What creature could I do her as? She could be a she. She could be a member of the she folk.
Oh, yeah. Donna's kind of a prophet, you know. You know, she's a bringer into a transmuter, you know, like an alchemist, really. That's what she is. She's a spiritual alchemist. She brings the abstract into the concrete. I don't know what that in mythology, what that would
Well, the she folk
present.
are Celtic creatures, Irish creatures from Celtic folklore,
Oh,
Celtic Irish. They are what has been turned into the common Tinkerbell fairy.
right. Did you
They
say the
were
she folk or the fae folk?
the original was she folk.
Interesting.
They
Came the fae.
they have this thing where they have like fairy funerals, where if you go into a forest at night alone and you see a bunch of robed people crowding around a coffin, if you go towards the coffin, and this is in mythology by the way, if you go towards the coffin and you open it up, you will see yourself in the coffin, and then from a month later you will hear a banshee cry and you will perish.
Oh, wow.
And that's called a fairy funeral.
Wow.
But they are depicted, they can be both, they're known as fickle. They're very fickle. They can be your best friend 1 minute and be your worst enemy next.
Interesting.
They you can get fairy luck, good luck from fairies, from the she folk, by offering a jug of water, a jug of milk, and some bread to feed the traveller,
Wow.
which is what they are, the travellers.
I also like it when you update the mythology and you make it your own, by the way. Yeah, that's very powerful. Very, very important, I think, to do as well. because that's how the myths become the myths. You know, people add to them, they adapt them, they make them as appropriate, and that is why myths are myths, and that's their power, is that they are open to being adapted and transformed, and they are open to being recreated entirely. It's look at the she folk became the fae folk became the fairy. You know, okay, it went in the direction that's kind of crappifying it, but still, you can reverse that with some things, and you can add to it, extend it, take it into the more. That's we are free to create myth. Very few people realize this. It's very potent. Very, very, very potent and powerful.
Been thinking now, because Donna messaged me saying she wanted that picture that I was drawing to be if I was going to upload it onto Facebook.
Ah, very cool. There you go. You see, because it's very the one with everyone in it. That's a very powerful picture. Yeah, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. I would even, like consider making that a background picture. For your, just you know what I mean, just for a while, just so it's there constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the profile. It was really weird because on my laptop, when I make a new picture like this one, and I save it, my laptop will like add it to like this library. That when when you press start on your keyboard and it brings up that little menu.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I'm not sure exactly.
It's got that little Windows icon.
Oh, right. Yeah, your menu button. Yeah.
Yeah. When I press that, it has this little library of things that I've drawn.
Wow.
And when that picture came up, and I swear to God that the hallucination that I drew, it looked like he was smiling.
I vaguely remember. Yeah.
It looked like he was smiling from a distance.
Hmm.
Get the nice wooden stick. Mm-hmm. So if I do this, right, so below that's got the yeah. Because the she-folk are fickle, I'm going to give this character a resting bitch face. I think this character is going to be a character that struggles emotionally.
Yeah. Interesting.
Going to be a character that has a lot of emotional baggage in the beginning.
Ah, it's very powerful, Rachel. Yeah. I like that.
And as the story progresses, she's going to come to terms with it.
Wow.
Because Dana seems like somebody who seems to be suffering at the moment.
Well, not at the moment, but she has in the past.
Oh no. Even when I hear her talk and when I've seen her face a few times, she looks like she's going through something.
Interesting. Yeah, chat to her about it. Because it's the resting face. She's aware that she communicates an inaccurate perception. It's very fascinating.
The she-folk are known for looking very graceful, so I'm going to give a nice curly hair. Nice wavy hair. A lot of S's. S curves. But yeah, And I assume that if she is, that's the reason why she's here. I mean, she does make me a bit nervous from time to time.
She what?
Makes me nervous.
Chat to Donna about that. Chat to
Because if
Donna.
I don't want to say
No, when you do connect to Donna, you're going to discover a moreness to Donna and a gentleness and a delight, and you're going to see Donna's fun side, and you can chat to Donna like Beena. You can talk about anything, and you're going to see that openness. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm encouraging. Donna really enjoys interacting with you the same as Beena does. So just to cross that perception barrier and to realize it's just a perception, it's not the reality. What Donna puts out and what Donna is isn't quite the same, and that somewhat applies to you as well. You know, you've experienced people perceiving you in one particular way, and they're not realizing what's actually on the inside. And so this is very useful for you to see it in Donna, and then to see past it in Donna, so that you can also see how that applies to you, and then utilize and apply that in your life in general. Very powerful. Very
It's
powerful.
not a case of them trying to say that Donna is going through something, because I'm aware that I can be wrong.
Yeah.
However, it's again just a feeling
Perception.
that
Exactly. Right.
when I have spoken to her, I have spoken to her before, even on my own.
Nice. Yes, I remember that one time you guys ended up chatting. Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it.
You know, she kind of opened up a little, and I was just like, "Wait, is she depressed?" And then ever since that day, every time I've spoken to her, because before it was a case of something off about this one. She seems a little bit like she's in the meh kind of like zone, like she's a little bit down. So I'm just like, nah, it's just me. And then when I spoke to her then, I was like, wait, no, she could actually be depressed. I recognize signs.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I've done a loves to hear perspective on herself, because she's, applying and changing, same as you. It is absolutely essential. It is a very big deal for her. She does it every single day, same as you, same as Beena, same as me. So this external perspective is very powerful. It's a big gift, it's something that she really looks for, asks for, appreciates. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to appreciate. Listen, you look and sound depressed.
Oh no! In Donna's case, she would do. Yeah. Oh.
My last character is the she folk. Need to bring her dress down a little bit more. Because see, I'm trying to do Beena's character a little. I'm going to say Beena's character because I haven't really come up with a name. I didn't quite like Miss Bean. But it was a bit mean.
And Rachel, will you give me a moment? So when I go connect with Olivia, I'm smelling really magical stuff. So I'll go get some food real quick.
Okay.
She's making me hungry with her cooking. I'll be back in a little bit. see. Let's see where you're at.
Making the character a bit too big, so I deleted it.
Oh wow. Okay, starting over again.
No, just the one character. Rest-
Well, no, I mean starting over with that character. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm drawing this character visibly transgender
Oh, interesting.
because I don't care being trans. Trans is fine.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful. Write what you feel. Draw what you feel. Very powerful. On that, what we feel, to be a feeling alchemist, that's very powerful, yeah? The
Yep.
ability to transmute our feelings and to realize that really underlying it, the feelings are just energy, yeah?
I think I've done it a bit too big again. Ugh.
You can't put a circle around it, and isolate it and then minimize and shrink, decrease, you know what I mean?
Not one of those programs. It's not one of those programs.
Yeah, some of these programs are just so incredibly sophisticated. It just fascinates me.
I actually have a sophisticated program, but it's so sophisticated that I can't actually use it.
Well, yeah.
So I just I'll figure it out another day.
Yeah.
For what I know right now.
Wow. With programs like that, I do kind of what I can, and when I need to know something, then I go and Google it, and then I learn it as pertinent and relevant. That's very, very useful. Just in general, more effective way of learning.
That's what I did. I went off and Googled it, but everybody was just confusing me more.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that happens too.
Another day's problem.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing this character in mid-air because she's got wings, so looks like she's lying down in mid-air.
Wow.
It's actually this cartoon that I was watching that was pretty cool. It had this shape-shifting elf in it.
What's it called?
I can't remember its name.
Wow.
But it had a shape-shifting elf in it, and the shape-shifting elf was played by somebody from LGBT, because the character itself was supposed to be an LGBT character.
Wow.
So this elf was a shape-shifting androgynous elf.
Cool. I feel in some way we all need to learn to be trans in some way. Yeah. Psychologically, if nothing else.
I don't know.
In other words, to be able to feel and think in alternative ways, which include, from another sex. And I don't mean the opposite sex, I mean another very specifically, that we can see there are multiple varieties. In other words, we just extend our ways of being to incorporate all ways of being. Just because we physically happen to represent one thing or another, who cares? It's irrelevant. We need to be able to embrace all of the different perspectives and psychologies and modalities.
Oh, so basically extend the gender binary a little, you mean?
What's that?
Extend the gender binary a little.
Exactly. Well, extend our ability to be appropriate and to understand and to be able to see things from all different perspectives. That's the abstract of it, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I meant by extending the gender.
No, sorry, I don't mean I'm just saying it in a different perspective.
Yeah.
It helps, just for my comprehension. put it in our own words, in our own way, make it our own. In other words, very important to make things our own. When we get to own them and get to use them.
See, I can't remember how to do these wings. And I was really good at these wings at one point. I always used to be able to do like perfect angel wings.
Very interesting.
Always made them really beautiful.
Huh.
This is a character that I actually created ages ago. I'm going to incorporate into this story.
Wow.
He's not an angel.
No.
He's a dragon.
You know what? You want to do this as Donna? Make her a dragonfly in some way. Dragonfly is something very significant to her.
I don't want to be influenced.
Well, I'm sorry. I know. Well, I shouldn't hear them. Very sorry. Yeah.
I mean, she is a she.
Yeah.
They're associated with butterflies a lot as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just cool to me that you said dragon and then wings and dragonfly. I don't know, it just connected all for me. So, wow.
I mean, good.
Uh,
No,
so it was exciting. Yeah.
I give her a pot of dragonflies.
There you go.
Are you watching?
Not right now. Let me have a look. My face was something in the food was like weird. Well, what the hell?
How did the impeachment with Donald Trump go?
Well, they passed the committee that decides on this passed a resolution for impeachment, and they're going to vote on it. The whole house, but it's kind of a foregone conclusion now. So, well,
Does it look like
he can be in the impeachment program, so he will definitely be impeached. Then it goes to the Senate as a trial to see if he actually gets removed from office or not. And that's different because the House is controlled by the Democrats right now, and the Senate by the Republicans. So, and
I don't think.
Huh?
I was just about to say I don't think they will remove him from office. I think they'll make him serve the rest of his term, but they'll watch him, and then they'll have like an early election.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Let's hope they do remove him, because if they don't, they're essentially saying, to the future guys, like, hey, you can come in and cause havoc and do what the hell you like for a term, and you're not going to be impeached, you're not going to be kicked out, so you can do all your criminal dealings. And I mean, he's in it for the money, obviously, it's a very poor precedent to set.
It would be a case of though that they, even if they don't remove him from office, they can still make his life very difficult.
Wow. I'm hoping that between now and right now, in the next week or so, before they start the trial, or even during the trial, Donald Trump loses it on TV. He loses it in the White House all the time. He goes into rages and fits and screams and shouts at people and berates them and puts them down. And you know how BMNs are, right?
Yeah.
Now, also, when they kind of let go of the facade, they'll say things like, you know what, the voters, the people who are voting for me, they're a bunch of fools. I've been playing them all this time, and they're a bunch of idiots, and they buy everything I say, and they just swallow it all up, and they're so stupid. I'm hoping he loses it, and this shit comes out, because when the BMNs lose it, that all their pus comes out, and all that inner private thinking comes out, right? You've probably seen this, yeah? Now, if he does this in public, and he's basically saying, all of this shit, he's saying, I'm just playing you all, I'm in it for the money, you're a bunch of fools, blah, blah, blah. all this shit comes out, his supporters now will have to turn on him. Not only that, all those idiot supporters in Congress, in the Senate, who so blindly are just supporting him because he's our team. And it's like, well, we can't lose. Our team can't lose, even though he's a piece of shit. When that happens, I'm hoping he loses it. So that will essentially force the senators then to say, no, you know what, you've gone way too far now. Now we have to turn on you. We have to not support you because the public has now turned on you. And now you end up with a unanimous vote in the Senate, or at least a way majority, if not unanimous. But, ideally it would be unanimous. And it's quite possible that it could be unanimous to say, no, you've gone too far. Now we have no choice but to kick you out. You see, their political life depends on them voting against him because the public turns. Because if he does something like that, the public can turn, and it can turn very quickly. And, all the people like on Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and all that, they can turn. If they turn, the public follows behind it. And how the TV like that, they love to pull down their heroes. They like to build you up and pull you down. If he loses it in public, they'll turn on him just like that, and suddenly he'll be the worst piece of shit under the sun, and they'll just be pulling him down nonstop. And when that happens, the politicians are forced to turn. And this would be very healing for the country, because now, instead of the impeachment being something which is divisive, it now actually brings the country together. They become united in their negativity and their kicking out of Trump and seeing the truth about him. And this will be a huge deal. So I really, really am hoping for that. And just since the way things have been going, stuff is coming out more and more, I actually see this as quite a likely probability that between now and, the trial will likely conclude sometime in January or February. Between now and then, there's a very big possibility of this happening, because he's already very under pressure and stressed and bothered about being impeached. He doesn't care for it. And more secrets is coming out. And, at some point, I'll bet you somebody filmed him losing it and they share that, So, but I'm hoping he does it with reporters in public, where it's like indisputable, undeniable. And they are that way. They lose themselves at some point. He's been pretty controlled, but I see he's been kind of irritated and annoyed every now and then, more and more what's coming out. And at some point, like I say, he can lose it. And that would be something quite special and quite amazing. It really would be transformative for everything. Same with Boris Johnson,
Oh yeah, he's already, people in England seem to be catching on to him quicker than they did in America.
Right. But he needs to show it's for his followers, not for those who have sense. It's to turn on his followers to say, I've been playing you a bunch of fools. You just buy everything I say. You just believe. I can tell you any shit, like the wall. That was never going to get built. It's a ridiculous idea.
Boris Johnson built his entire campaign based around Brexit, saying that he's going to get done by the 31st of January, and now that he's been elected into office, he's already backtracked and said that he's seeking an extension and he won't be out by the 31st.
Right, exactly. The whole Brexit thing, if that really happens, it'll probably be a disaster for England.
We actually owe billions of UK pounds to the EU.
Right. I mean, well, and just the whole thing with Russia, I mean, really, from a bigger picture point of view, all your movies is always the grand evil, like Sauron and all that. Well, that's Russia. It really is, They really are the cause of all the bloody trouble in the world.
It's actually a video game that's pretty creepy because it's predicted certain events that have actually happened now.
What? Oh, Lord of the Rings?
No, it was a different video game. I can't remember what it was, but it was made well into the 90s. Basically, it said that Korea were going to start World War III.
Oh, wow. Well, the Russians thrive on chaos, and they are chaos profiteers. And a lot of people don't realize this. They say, yeah, but what's in it for them? Why would they want to destabilize and cause chaos? Because they thrive on it. The whole, oligarch thing, people don't know how they came about. When Russia imploded after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and they switch over of the economy from the communist economy to a capitalist economy, there was just chaos. Nobody knew what was going on, and nobody really had any way of shifting stuff. It was just chaos. So some of these guys, the oligarchs, and there's one famous one in particular, and he's very tight with Putin, and he's very tight with Trump also. He was just a regular floor supervisor, in this huge aluminium factory, one of the biggest things in the world, actually. This plant, and then when the turnover came like that, there were no supervisors, there was no nothing, and he just started organizing his thugs, and he just started bullying people, and he basically took control of this factory and ended up claiming it as his own. That's it. So he ended up owning this huge thing which really belongs to the people. He just claimed it through just sheer force of bullying and manipulation. And then the oligarchs, well, he's not the only one. Others did the same thing. They realized that in chaos, he who has the gumption and the criminality in the world to organize and just be a criminal and just seize power, they can actually do it in chaos because there's nobody to stop you. So they foment chaos because of this. It enables them to seize control where they could not otherwise do that. In any regular economy, like in British economy, just somebody doing that would be, hey, but you don't own it, you don't have the shares, you don't have where you can't do this, it won't happen. But in chaos, it could happen, and it did happen. So this is very powerful. Very powerful. And people don't understand this. They don't know this. So they don't really get why the Russians are active in places like Syria. They don't care if they fuck up the economy. They just need control of specific things, like a mine or a plant or like this. The rest of the economy can be shit. They'll make tons and billions out of it. They don't matter. Like that guy, Deripaska is his name, actually, the guy from the aluminium factory. He's a billionaire over and over multiple times. It doesn't matter that the Russian economy is in the toilet. You see, they don't care about the bigger picture. It's about them. So, isn't that something?
Those who sow the seeds of chaos often reap them.
Yeah, but they thrive and they profit on it. Now, of course, they need the rest of the world to be stable. They don't realize that if you make the whole world into chaos, well, then your whole thing's going to fall apart. But, they're not known for their foresightedness. Let's put it that way.
Well, they really should. I don't understand people who want to do the whole global fucking
domination thing. Yeah, it's a preposterous thing that comes from days of old with Alexander the Great. He's still called Alexander the Great. But what the hell? I mean, he's just this great bloody criminal, if you ask me. I'll be back in 1 second, Rachel. Give me 1 second. No. Yeah, this thing of chaos profiteers and the BMNs and their logic and their motive. It's all in our book, but it's very powerful when you understand the underlying. You see the logic of everything, and all of the shit with them, like Putin and his support of Trump and of Boris and of them looking to undermine the European Union and to subvert NATO and all the shit. It's all just a big bloody ego thing. When Soviet Union was supposedly a world power, they just loved us and they were like, oh, we the best, we're the top. But then when it crashed, now their ego had crashed with it, and they're looking to reassert that. It's just amazing. And it's not just my opinion. There's actually a whole big paper out that the military intelligence did, a whole big thing. And this is the agenda. It's very clearly laid out.
I've done the picture now.
I'll look in a second. Let me make it full screen to see. Wow, the eyes are really kind of cool that they're popping out like that. You know, I just see it small and then you see the eyes.
I was thinking about doing.
I like that you've added Donna in there, and then there's one more character to add in, yeah?
There's no more characters. That's all of them.
There's Olivia.
No, that's me, the dragon.
So you and Olivia are combined and merged then, yeah?
No, she's a dragon.
I see. Olivia is the dragon. Brilliant. I gotcha. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
This one's Donna. That one's Donna. I need to do this one a bit thicker.
Do we have to do it right now? Sorry, but all right. Oh, okay. All right. Later, I gotta go and do stuff. So.
Okay. Well, I've got to go in a minute anyway. So.
All right.
That one, the circle's Donna.
Yeah. Let me make this big again now.
Oh, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
That one's Donna.
Yeah, nice.
That one's Beena.
That
one's me.
Exciting.
Oh. That one's you.
I look like a walrus somehow. You know, the teeth makes it give a walrus look to it. But I do like, and that's Ryan there. Yeah. Walrus logic is very powerful. I love walrus logic. I had to join a Facebook group, and the requirement for joining the Facebook group, and it's a group on copywriting of all things, and the requirement was you had to write a haiku about walruses. No logic to it, just that's it. So okay, so I wrote the haiku about walruses. So I wrote two actually. But anyway, so as I'm writing this, I'm thinking about walruses, and I'm like, so just it triggered me, and that's just my thing, and I think about things and connectivity. So I was thinking, there's something really magical about walruses, and there's a walrus logic that people tend to forget. Now, if I say to you, picture a walrus, right, and ask you, Rachel, can you just think of a walrus, right? Picture a walrus in your mind. What do you picture? Typically, when I ask people this, mostly they picture a walrus lying on the beach or lying on the pier.
No, I don't. I see a walrus lying. Well, I just picture a walrus in like a black background.
Right, but I mean, we picture a walrus typically because most of the times we see walruses, we picture them out of water.
Yeah,
right? Right, but here's the thing though, when we picture a walrus and that conception of a walrus out of water, when they're on land, they're clumsy, they're awkward, they don't move very fluently at all, right?
Oh no, don't say that, because it goes me back to that YouTube video where somebody was like, have a nice day, in this title. This will pick up your mood or something, and then it played this video of a walrus raping a penguin, and then turned around, and then when the video ended, they went, "You're welcome for the mental image."
Oh, well, right. Well, I'm not going with there. I'm going in a different way. When you see walruses in the water, they are graceful, they are fluid, they are powerful, they are dynamic, they are potent, they are energized. They are completely different in their element. This is my point with walrus logic. When we perceive people and we apply walrus logic, we say, am I perceiving this person in their element, or am I seeing them like the walrus out of their element on land? So in other words, how accurate is my perception? Because typically for most people, we are not in our actual element that we need to be in, where we are empowered, where we are potent, where we are graceful, where we are fluid, dynamic, energized, everything, right? So walrus logic is, for me, a mechanism, a leverage mechanism for perspective shifting when we perceive others. To be aware that someone perceived in an inappropriate context can be completely misleading, right?
Yeah.
In other words, the typical perception of a walrus as being this clumsy, sluggish thing that can barely move. This is a completely inaccurate perception of the walrus, right? And if you go in the water and you carry that, suddenly that walrus is going to wipe you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that penguin was making a fun of the walrus, and it was a penguin on land, and said, the walrus, what are they? They're nothing. Look how sloppy they are. Even me,
Was
who
it
can't run very fast, I can outrun a walrus on land. And then they got in the water and they got raped by the walrus. So it's
no. Well, penguins are actually, they can move as fast as a car
yeah,
underwater. They can
yeah.
actually
It's the
outswim
same
walrus.
thing. The same thing applies with penguins, right? Right.
Yeah,
I just prefer using walruses because penguins are cute on land, whereas a walrus is this big fat blob of a thing. It's such a gross distortion that you're going from they're cute and then it's positive to positive, but typically a walrus perception is somewhat negative on land. It's this big fat blob. It's a jab of the heart on land. But
well, not for me.
but in water they are graceful. It's the complete opposite. So it's just powerful as an oppositeness. That's what I'm trying. Extreme. So it doesn't mean that everybody's opposite necessarily, but can be an extreme variation. That's the point I'm trying to make. So walrus logic is very powerful to realize that, hey, even if we aren't we might just get to that point where we say, you know what? I need to find my environment where I flourish, where I'm fluid, where I'm graceful, where I'm powerful, where I'm empowered, and so on. Yeah.
Mm.
So this is the walrus logic. It's very simple, but very, very powerful. Not only when it comes to perceiving others, but when it comes to the application of appropriateness with ourselves. So for me, this group is partially, or at least, a large extent, it is the environment, it is the ocean, the water in which walruses can be the magic of what a walrus really is. Yeah.
Mm.
How exciting is that?
I was just going to say that the penguin might not have been raped. It was a love interest.
Oh, wow. Okay, exactly. Oh, again, perspective shifting. In the context, it's like, hey, you know what? There's some people that are into freaky things. I mean, in terms of animal love, for instance, there's a lot of people who have these profound bonds with animals. And I don't know how much the animals have the profound bond, but they do. And it seems in some cases, from what I understand, I've never actually seen any videos on it, but, that it's reciprocated. Anyway, uh, who knows? Penguins and walruses, why not? I've seen other, very close bonds and friendships between completely diverse species.
I
So
quite like
can
the
happen.
one.
Can happen.
What was really cute. I watched the Animal Channel once, right?
Uh-huh.
And there this lioness who was raising a zebra.
Yeah. There's a yeah.
Was outcast from her pack, and she lost a cub. She miscarried a cub, and she was a bit distraught over it. So she went and found this baby zebra that was basically abandoned by its real mum. So because it was abandoned, she decided that she was going to raise the little zebra, and she was like saving it from other like predators as well. But when the zebra found another herd of zebras, it wanted to go to the zebras and live with them because it's what it knows. And the lioness kept following it wherever it went. So the zebras kept running away from this little one because it had this predator surrounded it. And it's like they thought that the predator
Wow.
was, so they ran away.
Wow.
So this zebra lived in isolation, and so did the lioness. Because if the lioness went to her pack, the lion would eat it, and they would eat it. So they both decided to live together, and I thought it was really beautiful.
Wow. That is amazing. Yeah,
It
all
made
sorts of stuff are possible. All sorts of stuff are possible.
me nearly cry, but it was really sweet.
I love it. I love it. That's magical.
Yeah, anyway, I've got to shove off now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Good timing. Good timing. All right. Brilliant. Brilliant. I do like the theme just going forward of the transmutation of the energy of emotions.
Mm,
Very powerful, yeah.
yeah.
It's part of Walrus logic too. Shift the context, and then what was struggling with before, like movement, clumsiness, awkwardness, becomes a power. A detriment becomes a power. So
It is even its fat as well. Because do you know why walruses are fat?
it's insulation, right?
Yeah, from the ocean, because the ocean's actually freezing cold. I think it's like, what, minus fucking...
Why?
Uh,
It's
um,
12. Yeah, typically the cold oceans are somewhere in the 10, 11, 12 degree range. Yeah, it's not actually freezing, but it's close. Yeah, yeah.
I know apparently the further
Celsius.
out you get,
It's minus in Fahrenheit. Yeah.
apparently if you go, we use degrees Celsius, and if you go out the further out to the ocean you get, the colder it gets.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's really cold. The water's freezing, man. I mean, yeah, it's not technically freezing, but oh yeah. Okay.
In the middle of the ocean, like if you smack bang yourself in the middle of the Antarctic Ocean and you were
Right.
in the water, you would freeze to death
Oh yeah.
because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it's freezing. But if you're like somewhere in the Caribbean, then the water's actually quite kind of cool and blue, and I quite
Yeah.
like the fact that it's blue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean's scary, but at the same time very beautiful.
And the walruses are quite magical. I love that. I love that walrus logic. It's very powerful for me. It's really something that leverages me very profoundly. So I it just brought it up because you had that walrus look, and I thought, wow, I don't know, that just came about. Maybe it's just me filling it in. I don't know if it looks walrusy to you or not, but it does to me. So
No, I can understand what you're coming from. It's just the way I've done the bottom lip and then the way that I've done the beard that attached to the mustache. The
right.
beard mustache at the top. And when I zoom it out, it does look a little bit weird. But when you zoom in and see it for what it really is, then it makes sense.
Right, right, right. So I mean, that's and I just like that. It's exciting, that that came through in a way, that walrus thing there, because that's definitely something that's a profound leverage point for me. Walrus logic.
Could have been something that was on your mind. So when something's on your mind, you usually perceive it in your
Yeah,
environment a lot.
it wasn't, which is interesting. So it wasn't at all. That's why you triggered it because of the walrus teeth, and it triggered walrus logic. My mind is very associative like that, and I set my mind up very specifically to be associative like that. So that it makes for me a greater connectivity, and I love that connectivity. It's very useful. It's very powerful. It's like my background. You can connect anything to anything. So it is a perspective shifting mechanism, and it's an ability and a skill and a talent that I deliberately cultivate and nurture. It's very useful, very useful, very useful.
That's good. Anyway, I really gotta go now. So
Okay, we'll talk to you again. Anytime, Rachel. Always fun, always fun. Bye bye, bye bye. And meeting for all.